All right, so good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the Town of Greenwich Planning and Zoning Commission meeting being held virtually on Tuesday, April 14th. Before we start, a couple of one withdrawal and two postponements on our agenda. First of all, withdrawn is 22 Shoal Property LLC for a final coastal site plan to construct a new single-family dwelling with a driveway, garage, walks, etc. at 2 Shoal Point Lane, and that's in the R12 and Coastal Overlay Zone. Then Eggleston Holdings has postponed to April 28th. That's for a final coastal site plan at 14 Eggleston Lane to construct a new 2.5-story residence at that address. And then another postponement, Sherwood Farm LLC for a final site plan and special permit to rebuild a fire-damaged cottage and convert it into storage and office space. And with that, we did get Mr. Tessie. And Mr. Basili, are you good? Oh, we don't have to talk to you yet, but
I'm pretty good, but yes, do you want me to start working now?
no, you can take the evening off until we get to the public hearing.
Okay, all right, thank you.
And I also wanted to give a shout out to Horst Tibi from GCTV, who has been loyally filming us for, Horst, how many years? I hope he's there. There you go. You can say, if you don't want to say, I've enabled you to talk. Okay, you don't want to. Yes, there he is. Yes,
he's muted.
He's muted. Okay. Well, Horst, thank you for everything you do. I ran into him recently, and it was a pleasure seeing him because normally he is behind the screen like the Wizard of Oz. All right. So with that, we will go on. Our first application is 129 Hamilton LLC for a final site plan to modify an existing 2-family residence to a 3-family residence with the lower level converted to an assisted housing unit under the Connecticut General Statutes, Section 830G, on an 11,384 square foot parcel located at 129 Hamilton Avenue in the R6 zone. On this application, Ms. Jenkins will be recused as she is a member of the trust board, of the Housing Trust Board, and the applicant has advised us they intend to go to the Housing Trust. Thank you, Ms. Jenkins. And with that, Mr. Tessie, you may proceed.
Oh, thank you, Madam Chairman. My client, Mr. Pecora, I think should be included, but are you hearing an echo?
Well, you have 2 devices signed in, so I would suggest that you sign out the other device.
Yes. Same device. Okay.
All right. And then I see Mr. Pecora, and I'm letting him in. And he's on his way. Don't let him elbow you.
We seem to have lost John.
Oh, he signed off both of his devices. Okay, John, anytime you want to come back, I let Mr. Pecora got in. Mr. Tessie, would the real you raise his hand? All right, I'm going to promote the one that's left and hope that he gets in. He's on his way. I wonder how long it was going to take for us to notice.
I heard.
There you go.
I heard every word you said. Thank you for.
Okay, yeah, because you were an attendee.
You
went to attendee when you, I don't know what happened when you killed the other one.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it. We're good now.
Okay.
All good.
We're all good now. Thank you. So, as you stated, Madam Chairman, this application before you is to add a 3rd unit to a 2-family house that currently exists. No work is being proposed in connection with the existing use and existing building. actually at all, including in the dwelling unit being proposed, which I really refer to an affordable ADU.
Mr. Tessie,
yes.
Mr. Tessie, in the R6, if you have a two-family house, you cannot have an ADU according to our regulations.
I
In the
know, this is
R6
an 830G application, and then as I indicated
so
in an email
Mr.
to,
Mr.
may I
Tessie,
just finish?
no, Mr. Tessie, I
No.
was still talking. The regulations prohibit an ADU in what is already a two-family. So you're just adding an 830, if you're going to an 830G, that's what you're doing.
That's what we're doing, but
It's
I'm
not an
pointing out
affordable
to you
ADU. It's not accessory under the 830G statute, sir.
I'm not gonna really dwell
No,
on that point.
I wouldn't go there.
Okay,
Okay,
well, I'm gonna be going there in a different vein, because I
Okay.
think it's important on an analogical basis. But as I was saying, there is no work being proposed, I think, at all to the building other than to add a stove to the lower level, I'll call it the basement level unit. We are proposing affordable unit. We are proposing in the building. We've read through all the staff report. We've read, when I say we, both myself and Mr. Pecora, and we've read through the comments of the supporting departments. The letter requested by the SOAR division has been submitted. I believe that came up yesterday. There were a number of questions and issues raised by various commission members. We sent an email. I sent an email earlier today to Tracy. I believe it, or did I do it last night? Sometimes I can't remember. But I sent it to her and asked her to disseminate to all of you. I assume you all received it and read it. But I'm happy to take you through that on an item by item basis, but we tried to be concise and to the point.
Mr. Lowe,
There's
I'm
one
sorry,
open.
Mr. Lowe has his hand up, Mr. Tessie. He might want to
Sure.
comment to you on
Yeah,
your email. Go ahead.
Mr. Tessie, I read that and I have, I'm a little confused by one of the longest paragraph. Is it possible to
That's
put
not-
that up, Patrick or Tracy?
Mr. Lowe, this is paragraph 8 or point number 8, the last one.
Nick, I am sorry, I don't have a second unit up where I can look at it right now, so I don't.
Okay. No biggie.
Coming, hold on.
That's why I was asking you to put it up, but it's
Yep,
also.
it's coming. Yep. There you go. So this is
Okay.
paragraph 7 and 8. I'm assuming.
Yes.
Eight,
Meaning
right.
To answer your question, Nick, it is number 8.
Okay.
Okay.
So, Mr. Tessie, you state in here, or you cite with quotations that an ADU shall be permitted in the R6 zone only where the existing structure is a single family dwelling. Okay.
Correct.
Upon addition of an ADU, any further construction, etc., shall be prohibited.
Right.
So this is not a single family dwelling. So I'm kind of confused because in the next paragraph, you cite that it's an 830G and you're seeking waivers of 699 requirements.
Right.
And so I don't understand what you're trying to explain, except it seems to be, to me, I thought you were providing an argument for why you couldn't do what you're trying to do.
Yes, and I can, well, I'd be happy to respond.
Okay,
I'm
great.
actually making two points in the paragraph. Should probably broken them up. But one is that the application to you is not to construct a development, which is what it's called, development under 830G. consisting of a three-family home. We're proposing a development of a portion of that building into an affordable dwelling unit. The statute doesn't limit the one to having to make an application for a building itself. You make an application for a development, which is basically a creation of an affordable dwelling unit or units. In this case, it's a single unit, as being covered by the appeal rights under 830G. So this has to do with the issue of comparability. There's actually nothing to compare this dwelling unit with because we're not proposing to construct these other dwelling units. They exist. A good analogy would be an approval of at least one property, perhaps others, but I know one for Mr. Pecora where this commission permitted a basically the as of right development of a property with retail on the first floor and bifurcated its decision. And I'm sure you're all familiar with it, whereby you bifurcated it and first approved the building of the as of right portion of the building that would provide for retail, and then separately approved the development of the second floor of the building, maybe I think the second floor and maybe the half structure above it, but for an affordable project. So you did that, as I understood it, to first create that base of as of right use and then approve an affordable development above it. To me, that's very similar to the situation here where you have an existing building with a CO for two-family house. It exists, it was approved, and one comes in and states, I'd like to add into that building an affordable unit. Could have been more, but it's affordable unit under 830G. So when you get to the question of comparability, there's nothing to compare it within the development because this is the only unit. That was one point I was making. I was making another.
Could I interrupt you just for a second on that point?
Sure.
Yeah. I don't know that it doesn't seem to make a lot of sense to me just to deny the ability to establish comparability because there isn't another one just like it there. We've struggled this with other applications, and there are other approaches to establishing comparability without an identical unit. So I wanted to interject that. So please go ahead.
I appreciate that. I thank you for that. I appreciate your history in this regard. I mean, you're not personally the commission's. And what I'm saying is I'm taking a step back, looking at it, looking at the language of the state statute, looking at some precedents here where there was a division up of the as of right versus the development use. It's come up on a few occasions, including when we're talking about some other projects that I'm working on, actually one particularly. But I'm making the point that separation, existing versus as of right versus proposed, puts you in a position where I believe that the comparability is not a factor. But I also wanted to just get into it with you is section 6 and 6, which you were first asking about, 699, whose purpose was set out in actually the first paragraph of the regulation. But it speaks but it creates, there's no comparability factor under that statute, that regulation. The idea was to temper, as I pointed out, the size of the unit. That didn't make the unit a non-habitable unit or a non-worthy unit for its occupants. I think the idea was you're creating an environment whereby there will be an additional dwelling unit within the building. I'm talking about the internal ADU as opposed to an external ADU. And it's going to be limited size, and can't have its own door. And it's just it integrates into the building, but provides an opportunity for an additional unit, arguably affordable because of its size, within that property. And that applies to all residential zones except the R6. You do, and as you correctly quoted, the existing provisions of Section 699 prohibit the unit, an ADU in the R6 zone unless it's a single family dwelling only. I can understand to a degree why, but I'm not entirely sure why that was inserted, but I'm sure there was a lot of discussion about that point. But if you look at it, if you take a step back and look at it, there should be opportunities where in the R6 zone, there could be this additional unit, but I firmly believe if there is an additional unit, it's a perfect opportunity to allow an affordable, to allow it with the condition that it's an affordable unit. You've got so much built into that regulation. It was well crafted to temper the exposure to the public, if you will, of this additional unit in generally the single family residential zones, but also in R6 because it could be. In here, I'm saying, if I take a step back, 830G is when it comes to its essence, is allowing for a lot of flexibility on the part of an applicant. You have it, and proposals, including proposals to modify regulations of the town of Greenwich. One good example would be the RPHD-SU zone. A number of years ago, I believe Tom Higney was working on a project. It was on the north side of West Putnam Avenue, but it may have been the side street down close to the Portchester line. It was a multifamily building, and ultimately he proposed a change in a regulation of a RPHD-SU that basically allowed for more units under the auspices of 830G. So an alternative way of approaching this to what I'm suggesting, because basically the commission, whenever an 830G provision comes up in any given zone, is being asked to waive provisions of the regulations to the point of allowing the proposal to go forward. That's whenever you approve an 830 application, whenever you approve it, you're basically issuing waivers saying, okay, in that zone, despite our regulations, knowing that you could bring an appeal under 830G that we believe would be most probably successful, at least 4 or 5 of you do, right? If you're going to approve a project, then you allow waivers. You clearly allow waivers for that project to go forward. I'm saying the word waiver.
Mr. Tessie, everything you just said just went over my head. I'm looking at the paragraph in your letter. I'm looking at the floor plan,
Yes.
and
Yes.
as I understand this application is being brought to us as an 830G application, section 830G.
Okay.
It's not
Yes.
an accessory dwelling unit under our 699. Is that correct?
I'm bringing an 830G application to you.
Yes.
Right. Again, 830G applications simply mean that you've met the criteria under the statute to allow you to have you, meaning the applicant, the ability to appeal a negative decision on the part of
Yes,
the
we
commission.
understand that. Okay, so
Okay.
I'm looking at an
What I'm saying to
830G
you is
application.
that I'm asking, what I'm saying to you, and I can modify the application. Okay. What I'm saying is I took a step back and look at
Wait,
it. In
I'm sorry,
essence, what
Mr.
this is-
Tessie, did I hear you just say you were willing to modify the application?
I'm saying I could modify the application, certainly.
Oh, that
This
would
is
be
more-
wonderful. That's great news. How would you modify it?
I'm either going to modify the application to propose a change in the regulations,
Oh,
a 699, or I'm going to modify the application and make it specific request for a waiver.
oh, so
Under-
you're assuming that 830G does not override zoning regulations, so you would ask that we modify our zoning regulations so that we can do a hybrid that is part 699 and part 830G. Is that where you're going?
I'm saying in essence, I think that's a fair summary. It may be better. I was talking to Mr. McCora earlier. As we're looking at this, I realize you're struggling with the issue of comparability, and I
Not
understand.
really struggling,
Yeah,
sir.
I don't
The-
think
the
there's a struggle.
language-
Well,
Hold
I
on a
listened to
second.
you all day.
Hold
Well,
on a
maybe if
second.
that's not
We're
the right
not
word to
struggling.
speak.
The
Well,
language,
when I said the word struggling, what I was simply saying
And-
that we listened to you and all your comments yesterday on the issue of comparability. I think number one, it shouldn't apply for the reasons I stated earlier, because it's just a single unit development
So,
application.
what, have you
Go ahead.
reread the language from the state? Tracy's going to pull it up. I had asked her earlier today to pull it up, but the language from the state is that the affordable units shall be of comparable size and finish. So it doesn't matter that there's only one affordable unit. That affordable unit has to be of comparable size and finish to the market ones. Now, we know that there are a lot of different standards throughout the state, but we would expect you to have the affordable unit be of comparable size and finish. It's in Title 4, Tracy. You remember we had it somewhere in the clarifications from the state on the application of, she's got it. Which is of comparable size,
Patrick,
The-
yeah,
a unit of
SGG.
affordable housing.
For each dwelling unit constructed by the developer in excess of the number of such units permitted by the applicable density, the developer shall construct in the municipality unit of affordable housing as defined in section
Which
839A.
is of
Which is of comparable size and
comparable,
workmanship.
there you
We have
go.
not, well, I am very well aware of that section.
Of
Very
course
well
you
aware of
are.
it.
I know you're
We're
a very
not
good lawyer.
constructed by the developer in excess.
Are you-
For each dwelling unit constructed by the developer in excess of the number of such units permitted by the density limits. The density limits are 2. We're only constructed 1 unit above the density limit.
Well, there you go. You are
Because
above,
There's no new units to compare it to.
But-
That's my
but
point.
your point is you are 1 unit above the density limit. Exactly right. You have a 2-unit density limit in the zone and you are 1 unit above it, and the developer has built that unit. You've already told us that that unit is there. He's built it and you're 1 unit above the density limit. So then you go that unit must be of comparable size and finish. Okay, so there you are. Now, Mr.
Look, we're
Tessie,
reading the same sentence. I'm reading the literal language.
so am I.
and You're interpreting it.
No, sir.
So
You know very
we're
well
not,
the allowed density in the zone, sir. Per our regulations, you know very well is 2 units. You know that. 2 units. R6 is 2-family allows as a max, and it can be an ADU or it can be a 2-family. You know that to the effect. I'm not interpreting, sir.
Excuse me,
Second.
excuse me.
No, let me finish. Then once the developer has done that, which you've already admitted that the developer has done this 3rd unit, bingo, you're there. Now, you've got 2 other
haven't done
sets of hands up. Mr. Harris has had his patient hand up for a while, and he'd like to ask you some
Well,
questions.
I'd
And
like to.
then Mr. Lowe, Mr. Harris, I'm going to let Mr. Lowe cut in because he's very eager to address.
No,
Mr.
no,
Tessie.
I was the one who made the original comments.
Okay,
And since
you
then,
got
I
it.
haven't, you know,
been able to get a word in edgewise. as the rest of us
well,
jumped
those are
in.
your words.
Yeah.
I'm focused here, Mr. Tessie, on comparable size and workmanship. Can you address that with regard to this particular unit as it appears in this dwelling? In what way is it of comparable size and workmanship?
I think Mr. Pecora would attest to the fact that the unit is of comparable workmanship. I mean, he would know, he built it. So the proposed unit, right now, it's excess space.
So just
and,
for the record, Mr. Tessie, the developer has added 1 unit, which is over the allowed density in the zone. For
No, he does not.
under the current regulations, which you propose to modify, it is 1 unit over what 699 specifies. So,
Yes,
yes.
yeah.
You
No,
would like,
absolutely.
in your,
It's not a unit.
yes,
It's not a unit. Where are you? Oh, there you are.
in your anticipated world, you would like to modify 699 to allow 3 units, but at the moment it is 1 unit over the allowed density.
That's
He
our
has already
application.
built
That
that.
in essence is our
So-
application.
Yes, so therefore,
Okay?
well then, now,
The two, well, we have a different reading of that
of
section.
699,
the
well,
regulations.
since
No, I'm sorry. I'm talking about what Tracy
with
put up
Tracy,
earlier under 832.
yeah, well, we would, I recognize you're an
Look, I
excellent
respect
attorney,
you.
Mr. Tessie.
Mhm.
I similarly will point out to you that we have gotten legal opinions on that very section several times already, as you know. And, okay, so you know
I-
that we have also studied this and that what we're repeating back to you, now, where I would
Well,
go with
Go
you
ahead.
is this issue of what modification could you make that allows this to be economically feasible for you, which that is in fact a very important issue in 830G. How could you modify this? And I gave you, we gave you what suggestions we could. We'd love to have you take this
Mhm.
creativity that you're applying at the moment to, is there a way that you could, in an economically feasible manner, comply with the 830G statute? But before you go there, I'd love to let Mr. Harris comment. And Mr. Lowe, did you finish?
I'm done. That's okay. Yep.
Okay.
This is evolving, so it's good.
There's just a
Mr.
lot
Harris?
there's just a lot of threads here, so it's sometimes difficult to follow, but I think all the threads kind of converge on whether or not this qualifies under 830G. I think if it doesn't qualify under 830G, it's a very tough lift. I mean, maybe there's an argument there. I can't quite see it yet, but open to it. So it really revolves around 830G. I think you're maintaining that you're not subject to the comparability standards in your current proposal. And I guess to me, when I read the language, and I'm moderately familiar with the language, when I read the language, I don't see where that exemption comes from, but I would, if there's a lawyer on our staff or otherwise that wants to like help me understand that could change my position easily. But I think it all comes down to that. I mean, I think if you can qualify under 830G, I think there are many paths by which you can do interesting projects here, but you have to jump that hurdle first, and that's where I'm struggling.
So
at least.
I'm going to just respond to Mr. Brooks. We have gotten some legal opinions in the past on this topic. One of the things that I would say to all of you is, but especially to Patrick and Mr. Harris, which is, I don't believe the trust would be in a position to do assisted housing of an 830G if they are applying under a modified 699, because it's either, as to you where you were going, I think, Mr. Harris, is it's either an 830G or it's not. And if it's an 830G, then it can't rely on our zoning regulations in order to enable the units. And I don't see how the trust, who's called upon specifically, and you helped write the trust language for 830G. So now, Mr. Tessie, with all of that, I'd love to hear your ideas on how we could move this forward.
Well, I'd like to
We'd love to
respond.
have an affordable unit. That would be a great pleasure to us. We're trying to move forward on affordability, but you are at about, what was it, guys, 55%? If you take the average of the 2 units, Brooks is fast at this, right? It's six.
Yeah, it's something like
600
that. But I
yeah.
mean, there are other issues as well. I mean, it's the number of rooms, it's the number of window. I mean, there's a lot of considerations that go into comparability. I think you're arguing that you're exempt from that, but if you aren't exempt from that, it's hard to see how it would be comparable. So you know,
Right.
which path can we follow? I can't see either path right now, but you know,
Well,
that's why we're
Mr.
here.
Brooks, yeah, Mr. Harris, sorry, stating myself, talking about Mr. Brooks, although I always liked him when he was on the commission.
That's what happens to me
Uh,
too. I keep calling him Mr. Brooks because I look at the
I
name,
respond to either.
he responds, so it's great.
Just don't call
And
me
I
Mr.
call you
Dinner,
Mr.
right?
I think you
Tess,
probably
I
will this
call
evening,
Hegney Mr. Tessie, and I call you Hegney, and we manage. That's a different animal. Okay,
Um,
so back we go.
So back to Mr. Brooks, let me just make a point, because I think he did a very good job of summing things up in a couple of sentences. Yes, if I believe we're exempt for the language by my reading of the language. I respect others' reading of the language of that particular section of 830G. I do believe that when it comes to and you can certainly talk to council about it, when it comes to an application that states, well, I want to use a particular section of the regulations, but I want a waiver of these two clauses, that you can make that application to the commission. Commission doesn't have to grant it, but because 830G speaks in terms of, okay, qualifiers. The qualifiers are to get you to have the right of appeal. That's all it does. It gives you the right at the end of the day for an appeal to court to make a determination of whether or not that appeal should be sustained, given the various strictures contained in 830G. That was the point I was trying to make. And I gave as an example, I believe it was Tom's application under RPHDSU zone regulations, where he saw a modification of the regulation, not just to build his project. I don't know why I wasn't involved, but that regulation, I believe it's still an asterisk in the regulations under RPHDSU, and that's where it came from. So it's just about making an application and being denied by the commission when it's in 830G. Doesn't mean you have to ignore all the regulations. You can choose to make an application. That's why I said I got to take a step back. A modification may very well be, rather than a waiver, an overall proposal to modify the R6 provisions of the regulations, which to me, regulation being, of course, 699, which overall is not a bad thing for the town of Greenwich, because there could be plenty of opportunities where it would make a lot of sense and it would increase your stock of affordable housing. The idea that because it's not comparable sufficiently or at all, doesn't stop one under section 699. You can have a unit, it's limited as to size. It's the quite opposite. It's kind of interesting because it's actually the opposite. So there's no benefit to affordable housing there. And I know we did have the affordable housing clause in the elderly provisions, and this came in as an override to those regulations in a redo, if you will. But the idea of an affordable component and giving it more leniency, to me, should be considered a good thing at the end of the day for the stock. of
Madam
affordable
Chair?
If I
housing.
may,
And with that,
Mr.
maybe
Tessie,
Mr. Pecora can say a few words in response to Madam Chair's ideas
Mr.
about,
Mr.
is there a way
Tessie,
we
Mr.
can?
Macra has his hand.
Madam Chair, I think we've kind of
Oh, I'm sorry.
set the record straight here. This is an 830G application, not an accessory dwelling unit under 699. I feel like we're kind of going in
830G
circles here. So we're looking at a very specific thing. I think there's maybe some confusion between the two regulations here, the state regulations. So I think we really kind of need to be moving on here. The 830G, which was being represented to us as this application, provides us with questions and the ability to look at comparability. In my opinion on this, we have two existing units. This is the third. The comparability is the two existing units. Yes, this is a constructed development. This has been built. So the 830G paragraph that was just up basically very clearly defines what this would be and how we basically should be looking at this. So I think rather than going on back and forth, whether what is this, what isn't this, let's take a look at this as an 830G. It's a unit. What's the comparability to the other units? Let's talk about what's going on inside this unit. so we can actually establish that definition of what the comparability is and what we can do to make this better. I do have some questions for Mr. Pecora if he's available.
He's
And
right
if
here.
staff, if staff
Um,
can bring up page 19 of the staff report.
Well said, Mr. McRae. I agree. I think that it has been filed as, I agree with you, it's been filed as an 830G. To change it to 699. There's also some nonconformities that arise if it was to change to 699 other than what we've discussed of the density. Mr. Pecora, Mr. McRae would like to ask you some questions.
Okay.
Front door, we come in the front door at grade, we can go down to this unit and into the first floor unit and to the upper floor unit. Is that correct?
In the back of the building.
No, the front of the building, from the front
The
porch.
front of the building, you walk up the front porch, go into an entry foyer. You could either go right into the first floor unit, go straight and then down the stairs into the lower level, or go up the stairs into the second floor level.
Okay, so the plan in front of us is the lower level. How much of the lower level is actually below grade?
If I'm not mistaken, I think we're at 4.9 or close to 5 feet. Grade plane calculation.
I'm not the grade plane calculation. I'm talking about actually how much of this is actually below the average grade around the building. This floor level, how far below is the floor level of this level below the adjacent grades?
I said I think it's around 4.9 feet.
Okay, so the window in the laundry stair, the window above the kitchen, those are all foundation windows up high,
Correct.
above grade?
Correct.
Okay. In the bedroom, we have 3 windows. Those are same thing, above grade?
Those happen to be foundation windows too. They don't necessarily have to be, but they are.
Okay. Now the stair in the back, it says it goes down. That goes down?
Yeah,
to
that
the-
actually goes up. I saw that during the meeting. That's inaccurate.
Okay. So a good portion of this is actually below grade or below the adjacent grade by 5 feet or plus or minus.
Correct.
And the mechanical room services the whole building?
The mechanical room has 3 Rinnai tankless hot water heaters in it. So that's for each of the spaces. And then 2 HVAC systems, one for the first floor and one for the lower level.
Okay. Now, in relationship to the floor above, the 2 floors above, when was this constructed?
This space has been this way for decades. All we did when we bought it in 2011 was redo the bathroom, put air conditioning units in all 3 floors, and change the laundry to a kitchenette, which I want to make sure that I qualify what Chairwoman Albin said before, is that I created 3 units. I didn't create 3 units. This is technically a finished basement.
I'm sorry, I was just repeating what Mr. Tessie had said that you.
I'm just want to make
I
sure
was
I have it on
putting
the
on-
record that this is zoning wise, I'm totally in compliance.
Okay, so the floor plan we see in front of us, this bedroom, the living room, the stair, that bathroom, all exists, and it was done in 2011, you said?
No, this has been here for ever.
Okay, got it. And the actual kitchen.
All I did was, like I said, redo the bathroom
Mhm.
and change the kitchenette from what it used to be, which was a laundry washer and dryer, to a kitchenette.
Okay, so then the upgrade to the kitchen will be a full-size sink, upper cabinets, a dishwasher, I would assume, and a stove, some kind of cooking facility?
All I would need to do technically is just add a range to that space
Okay, so
to
seeing as,
make it a compliant
Right.
kitchen.
okay, so seeing as this this particular floor level hasn't been modified, adjusted, or upgraded in any sense. We do have an opportunity to kind of make this compatible with the other units.
I don't see how you could do that when you talk about size. Finish wise,
I'm talking about, yeah, finish.
compatible.
You're stuck with size. It is what it
Yeah,
is. I'm
Correct.
talking about finish. You have two
Well,
units upstairs that
finishes-
are new. You have something you just said that actually is not new downstairs. So we can actually talk about compatibility in this space, looking at finishes.
Well, the kitchen,
And did
the
you
kitchenette,
have, just to check, Mr. Pecora, and you got plumbing permits for this work, right?
yeah, it's all permanent. So the kitchenette and the bathroom are actually newer than the kitchen and bathrooms upstairs. The trim is identical trim. Interior trim is identical to upstairs. Everything is sheetrock. Upstairs is hardwood floor, and down here we have large 24 by 24 tile, which is, in my opinion, better than the hardwood floor.
Okay, I think that pretty much answers most of the
All
questions I
three
have.
have fireplaces.
The fireplaces work?
Not that I would want them to use it, but they all work. It was built by the DeAndrea brothers, so I would trust their fireplaces more than most.
Got it. Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Pecora.
You're muted.
Back we go to, and you knew I was talking, that's good. So back we go to, you all could do a modification here, because here's the problem with going to something that allows you to have 3 units. You have 4 parking spaces. Under the regulations, you would require something in the realm of 7. So if you're not going to be an 830G, you're underparked. So if you are going to be an 830G, we are silent on this topic because it's not a health or safety issue that is more important than our need for affordable housing. So how do you want to proceed? You've noticed this is an 830G. This is a public notice, it's an 830G. What are you thinking in terms of possible modifications that would make this be comparable
You know,
and economically viable?
in many conversations with John and others, I've said this is like a perfect opportunity to take a space that could be a very in most houses of this nature would be illegal apartments and make them legal, and they would actually count towards affordable housing. The amount of need for affordable housing for space like this is, I could rent this probably 20 times over. And I think it just creates an opportunity to add to the housing stock of affordable housing, of affordable units. I personally, would like to keep it an 830G. However, I kind of know where John was going with this with regards to, the existing 2 units already exist. I mean, they're not being constructed. So in reading the regulation, I kind of agree with John in the sense that we're not constructing anything. I do have to modify this unit slightly to comply with the fire code. But they already exist. So the development is only adding 1 unit. And there really is no way to compare something to nothing, because we're only adding
So
1 unit.
we're missing what the comparison is to when we make that argument. What it reads is the affordable unit has to be comparable to the markets. It doesn't say the affordable has to be comparable to other affordables. The affordable has to be comparable to the markets. That's the part that I was emphasizing. That's what the comparability requires.
Yeah, I think we all agree. I think
Yeah.
we all
So let's
understand
go
what you're
back
how
to
you're
what?
interpreting it.
It's not an interpretation, it's the actual language, Mr. Pecora. It's what the language says. The affordable unit built must be of comparable size, blah, blah. That's what it says. It refers to the affordable unit very specifically.
Understood.
So
But
now,
the-
how could you, Mr. Pecora, what could you do I mean, we asked yesterday and you've responded. If the now, again, if you came in under 699 and you got us to revise it, I'll give you a bunch of arguments against. One, we would technically be doing something only for one application. It's spot zoning. We do it for the rest. And here's an issue. We're about to create an a housing growth plan. It should be thoughtful. It shouldn't be, well, let's just go ahead because there's this person who has an application and let's just start allowing this here. The better way to do it is what neighborhoods can handle a growth in density, because the moment you allow one R6 unit to officially go to 3, you are doing it to a lot of Byram, a lot of Chickahominy, a lot of Cos Cob. So you're in all of these neighborhoods that are already traffic tight, and you have to think that through. So I would say we are better off doing a strategic, thoughtful approach to where we can grow density. And this may not be the place, or it might. You and I have had this discussion when we were working on the POCD, on both POCDs. Okay, now, what could you do? Mr. Harris has his hand up. We called him by the right name that time. Are you in on the how to modify it, Mr. Harris? Or are you raising a different topic?
Yeah, I mean, no, it's really along that line, which is there are two paths. You could either affirm that your plan follows 830G and try and get it through the Affordable Housing Trust and then try and get it through planning and zoning afterwards, which I view as a fraught path unless there's like more information from our lawyers that would confirm that. Or you could go down the other path, which is we all want more affordable housing, to figure out how to make this more comparable so you will succeed in getting this more efficiently through the various channels so you can, go ahead and do this. So sorry, maybe that's an introduction, Margarita, to what you want to say here.
No, the problem is that it's tough for him to do 699 because he creates a significant parking nonconformity. Versus
again,
if you modify
yeah,
699
let me-
and I'm sorry, Mr. Tessie, I really let you finish all of your sentences in the beginning. I did. So you've got to let me finish mine. 699, you would need 7 spaces. Okay, Mr. Tessie, Mr. Pecora,
Okay, let me just be clear about 699. 699 was put up for the reasons I stated as an alternative 830G
No, sir.
application.
No, sir. That is not,
Okay.
I worked on
No,
writing
but-
that, sir, and that was not what our intent was when we wrote it.
That's your intent was not to allow the 830G projects.
No.
The projects that don't meet zoning.
No, sir.
Okay.
Our intent on ADUs,
Let me just-
our
I'm
intent,
not going to be
Mr.
okay.
Tessie,
I-
when we wrote the ADU language, and most of us on this Zoom helped write it, when we rewrote the ADU language, our goal was to provide flexibility for all residents in terms of having something, a secondary and supportive unit of a primary residence in which they would either live in the accessory or live in the principal. And you'll note that in so doing, in our last revision, it is not restricted to affordability. We got rid of that. And you were part of that when we
noted
did it.
that earlier.
You were on that task force. We got rid of affordability. We got rid of disabled, and we got rid of senior. We said everybody in town who needs flexibility. So this was not an alternative to 830G. It was an option to give our residents flexibility to have a secondary and subsidiary residence on a one-family lot.
I understand everything you stated, and I understand the history. I'm pointing out, simply as a matter of law, again, an application can be made meeting the criteria for applicable criteria of 830G to modify any regulation of any town in connection with an 830G. That's one approach. One could also make application to the Board of Appeals, as you know. But the point is, there's a lot of flexibility, as I said earlier, on the part of the applicant. At the end of the day, The court's going to decide whether or not it's a proper 830G and whether or not it's worthy of being one that the court approves over a negative decision by the Planning and Zoning Commission. That's just the law. I'm not arguing the history of any zoning regulation. That's all. We were just trying to make the point, Mr. Pecora and myself, coming from a little bit different angles, that we look at it as a benefit to the town when it comes to increasing its housing stock, specifically of affordability, with these type of conversions in the R6 zone.
Under
With that, I don't have to repeat
699, we
myself.
do not require affordability, so you would no longer be doing that. And I believe that the commission made a very serious decision that what we wanted was flexibility for the residents and not to require affordability. So you're talking about a very different thing. Now, back to the topic. Is there any way that you could modify what you're proposing in order to make, now, we never got an answer on Nick's grade, how much is below grade.
I think it's about 5 feet from Mr. Pecor. So the floor level of the lowest unit, according to how I understand this, is approximately 60 inches below the average grade around the outside of the foundation.
So you have, it is at grade at the rear, at the entry?
No,
And-
at the entry, it actually goes up steps to the grade.
Okay. So even there, oh yeah, because it says, no, it says down on the little thing.
That's
And Mr.
incorrect.
Pecor,
That was a mistake.
so it goes up. You go out out that door
But
and
it
up
says
the stairs to the
DN.
back.
I'm seeing a DN on
Oh,
that
yes,
door.
correct. Yes, that's what it says, but Mr. Pecor corrected it. It goes up
So the whole thing is below grade.
approximately 60 inches.
Yeah, it's probably, if I can interject, it's probably less. What's the?
It's
ceiling
actually
height?
4.5 feet.
Yeah, I would say it's probably gonna be more like 4.
It's
Sure,
4.5.
measured-
It's 4.5 feet. I just looked at the grade plane that I had DeAndrea do way back when. That was just for my own
whatever.
information. Look, I don't know how to get where you guys want to be because there's no way to increase the size of the unit. It's just not going to happen. I mean, to get an extra $1,800 a month, I would have to spend $150,000 to do that, and I'm just not going to do
So
it.
a one-room addition on the side and moving the piping, would your estimate, because you're a builder,
Yeah,
would be
it's not just
150.
moving piping, Margarita. It's I mean, all the HVAC systems are there, so it's ductwork.
okay, so I'm thinking you're moving lines. I mean, to me, it was a relative, but you're the builder and you're
yeah, it's
saying that it
not.
would,
It's if it were that easy, I would gladly do it. But to get an extra $1,800, it would take me 10 years to get that back.
can you consolidate the equipment so that it's, as it is now, it's in a corner? Can you consolidate
It's
it?
as
So,
consolidated as you're gonna get. I
okay,
mean,
so
could
then you have a
I can't
space.
gain a room. That's the point.
Can you gain a room in there?
No, I can't. That's my point.
Mm-hmm.
I could gain
So
an entry
let's-
foyer, maybe, you know.
Okay, Mr. Leroux, 830G, as I understand it, we're incumbent on actually understanding and discussing life safety issues. And that if we have any issues with an 830G application, it's incumbent on us actually to prove that this is not a appropriate development for life safety issues. This gives the applicant an appeal if we move negatively on a project to appeal right away. At the same time, things like parking, setbacks, our zoning regulations are negated. But the compatibility is an issue that we can actually discuss. I think in this case, as Mr. Pecor is saying, he's kind of got a finite issue here with the foundation. I think we really should be asking is what can be done specifically to the lower floor plan to make it more compatible with the upper units within size, windows, fit, finish, another bedroom, so on and so forth. But rather than have this discussion now, let Mr. Pecor go back to his drawing board and see what he can do and then return with something as an idea. Maybe their windows are larger and there's some window wells, which might not be too expensive. Maybe the mechanical room can be pinched a few inches here and there to make the rooms bigger. Maybe another small bedroom could be added in the family room. I don't know. It's up to him in terms of understanding the floor plan as it exists. But I don't know if we should be discussing it now and wasting time. We've got a lot of applications. Let Mr. Pecora think about it for a while and then come back with some ideas.
One of the things you could do then is go talk to the trust in the interim, because the other question is the
There you
trust
go.
going to be comfortable with this as it's being laid out? And
Could the trust give him some money to do additional work to make it more compatible?
trust doesn't do that. So the trust would do, but here's the question: your economic calculation would be with the trust, and if they bring you to an 80% of AMI, that, or the new modified number that they're using is, and that is a whole lot better than them not giving it to you and you going to a lower rent level and you going to state median. So that's the trade-off. What's your revenue loss for the 1,000 square foot unit?
Yeah.
If you did this, you know where I'm going, Mr.
Yeah,
Pecora. If
for
you did
the-
1,000 square foot unit, I'm just going to throw it out at you. Let's not debate it now. But I'm going to say, if the 1,000 square foot unit was at 80% of AMI versus the trust says, no, we're not going to play, and you're only renting out your lower level at, if we were to move forward with it, at 60 or 80% of SMI. I mean, that's what you're the one who runs the numbers. You're the one who figures it out, and you tell us what'll work.
Yeah,
I mean,
so-
we want to advance affordable housing, but we'd like you to come back with something that works, and talk to the trust first.
Yeah, so a couple issues. One, if I were to go forward with just set aside, that means I'm
Right.
only renting for around $1,250.
Yep.
It's not even worth doing
Yep.
anything. The only way I would go forward is with the 80% AMI.
Okay.
And I find it fascinating because I had a conversation with Bill, and what I said is that of all assisted housing applications, this would be the one actual application that the trust would actually assist in the financing of the cost to make the unit affordable. In other words, the percentage of the loan could be as high as 80% of the cost of doing the project, as opposed to a pittance 50,000 on a $3 million job. So to me, this is the one thing that actually would make it an assisted housing application. But that's up to you guys.
Yeah.
I'm not sure, other than creating window wells, that I would be adding anything that makes it more comparable. The windows are really the only finished difference of the upper units. Everything else is pretty much the same finishes. So if you guys are demanding that I create window wells and that
No,
you would be
no.
favorable,
No, that's why. No,
I'm just hypothetically saying
no,
something.
no, but I want to, again, I've got to set the record because this is an 830G. We are not demanding window wells. We were trying to be helpful, and that was probably a mistake on our part. What we are saying is, if you would A, go talk to the trust, and B, consider if there are any modifications that are economically feasible for you that would allow the comparability of the affordable unit to the markets to be a better number than it is at this point in time. That's
Okay,
what
so
we're
my
asking.
only response to that is, are you gonna mandate the size being the comparable measure?
Yeah.
Okay, so then I can't do it.
But the statute says, that's what we're asking you for. The statute says comparable size and finish. It says both. That's what we're asking for. And we've been flexible on this number. We are aware that there are several different numbers that people throughout the state use, and we want to facilitate affordable housing. You've heard us have the discussion, so we're putting it over to you. What could you do? How could you modify this to make it work? What kind of conversation can you have with the trust and what could work? We'd like to be supportive. We're not making any demands or any requirements because that would be a violation of how it's currently filed. Under 830G, we can't ask you for a modification that affects negatively the feasibility of your economics.
So are you going to allow me to go in front of the trust because they
Yes.
won't see me without your approval?
Yes, we just
She
asked you to
said, she
go.
said that.
Okay.
We've asked you twice already, and Ms.
Okay.
Jenkins has her hand up. So Madam Jenkins, if you would,
Yes, Mr. Pecora, the trust actually welcomes you coming in early. And in fact, the process has been in certain circumstances in the past that you do a pre-app so you can kind of see these questions before the Planning and Zoning Commission and then come to the trust. And with all due respect, I just want to make sure, put it on the record that your conversations with Mr. Finger, you have not formally applied to the trust. We have not seen numbers. And the only official action on behalf of the trust is not ex parte communications with trust board members, although that's helpful and we certainly encourage it. But to the extent that we have not seen numbers, and again, the trust requires you to provide both set aside and assisted housing numbers so that we can see the economics as well. So I think at this point, really, at least speaking on behalf of the trust here, and not on behalf of the commission, I think it's time and past time that you actually address the 830G questions with the trust so that we can see this move forward. We the trust, more than
Yeah.
maybe any other entity in Greenwich, is anxious to encourage affordable housing, but we have to make sure that it's done appropriately under the
Yeah,
statute.
my only reason for talking to Bill was to get in front of the trust.
And again,
I mean-
please talk, no, I'm sorry, please talk to Bill, but again, that for the record, that has no effect in terms of the trust conclusion, which has to be based upon.
No,
a
I
presentation.
understand. I'm just saying, in the past, I've gone in front of the trust first, and the new rule is I can't go in front of the trust without the commission members allowing me to go in front of the trust. That's what I was told.
news
And that
to
was the
me.
reason I called.
I believe
Mr.
that's a
Finger.
miscommunication, frankly. Again, the idea has been talk
Okay.
to INSEE preliminarily, then come to the trust, then come back. So I'm sorry if that was the impression that was created, because again, what you see is the commission attempting to address issues that need really to be addressed by the trust to the extent that 830G is being employed here.
Not a problem.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Pecora.
And did Mr. Finger give you an indication this might be a hard sell for the trust?
I think we should let Ms. Jenkins and Bill come to that conclusion at the meeting.
We have the
I have
meeting.
no problem going in front of the trust and presenting a
Or
case.
not come to that conclusion at the.
Well, yeah, I know.
Yeah.
We have a meeting on the 29th, Mr. Pecora. So there's
I
time to
welcome
come.
attending.
We'll see you there.
Great, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, so do we need to?
Public comment, Madam Chair.
Any extensions?
No,
to the,
before we go to public comment, we're good for dates. Okay, does anybody from the public wish to speak on this application? Kindly raise your virtual hand. Anybody from the public wish to speak on the 129 Ham Ave application? Kindly raise your virtual hand. Nope, got no takers. Okay, so we'll continue this, or you may end up withdrawing it and turning it into something else. Your call. We look forward to you having some modifications.
There's no intention to withdraw the application. We may seek modifications in the application, but let's see what the
Okay,
trust fund.
let's see how you do with the trust. Okay, great. Thank you for your time.
Okay, good evening, everyone.
All righty. Okay, so our next application is you're there? Okay, so
I am.
the next application, number 3, has been postponed. I mean, I'm sorry, it's been withdrawn. So now we go to Start Capital LLC for a final coastal site plan to remove the existing dwelling and site features, replacing the existing seawall and construct a new single-family dwelling with driveway, in-ground pool, etc., and a floating dock. And it's at 9 Meadow Place, and it's in the R12 Coastal Overlay Zone, Flood Hazard Overlay Zone. And the parcel is 0.665 acres. On this are seated the regulars. And Mr. Hegney, if you would proceed. Oh, before we do that, were we able to do, I saw the agenda was modified. This is shown as a must decide. Is this a must decide for 418?
I don't think we have any more time, Madam Chair.
Okey doke. All right. Okay, so this is a must decide tonight. Whatever happens, we need to make a decision as the agenda shows it. All right, Mr. Hegney.
Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the commission. Good afternoon. Tom Hegney for the applicant. At the last meeting, the conservation staff had not had an opportunity to review all the comments that we had submitted, so we were postponed. We have provided cut and fill numbers. We've added a male plant, or 2 of them actually, to the planting plan. We didn't provide caliper, but Mr. Kenny did provide a description on how these are multiple stalk trees, and indicated the shrub size is going to be at what's required under the regulations or larger. We had previously moved the house and the patio back 3 feet, so everything is out of the V zone. I did talk to Mr. DeAndrea, who should be floating around somewhere in the audience, if not here on the
Oh, there he is.
attendance. And I want him to address the comment that came in from conservation on how the stormwater management structures work, and what you do when the tide comes in. And
Yeah, he's here.
he should be with us momentarily. Other
No,
than that, I
Mr.
think
Hegney, he's
I think
already
we had
here.
resolved everything.
Mr. Hegney, he's already here. I don't know if you can hear me. Can you not hear me?
I can. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Okay, because I had answered you and you kept asking about him. All right. No, and as you know, we go first to the DPW sign off and what they've said, and second to conservation, because the authority lies with DPW engineering and Mr. Paredes. Mr. DeAndrea, you wanted to comment on what conservation had written.
Yes, Madam Chair, I can make one quick comment as I read the comments from Rebecca Poirier, and I responded through Tracy about to the comments. One aspect in the last paragraph is about how will the system function. Factually, when the system is operating under dry weather or rain up to the 25-year event without storm flooding, a high tide, high water, storm-driven rain, it will filter the water and discharge it back down in through the sand filter, as discussed with DPW and accepted as a what do you call it, standard lid component of treatment. The second part of the sentence was, how would they effectively provide stormwater mitigation under flood conditions? Well, the answer to that is there is no mitigation against the flood conditions. When the 100-year or base flood occurs, then the site is effectively inundated, and the stormwater system cannot mitigate for the effects of the tidal flooding. I think that's the most direct answer. You can't mitigate against the tide.
Okay. I'm just reading through their comments.
If I can add one more thing, Madam
Yeah.
Chair.
Mhm.
When we first had the initial application included a gallery system. Upon discussion with DPW, a more effective lid component would be the sand filter,
The
which
sand
we have
filter,
two
yeah.
components of.
Yeah. I think we asked you the last time, but then when I read it over the weekend, I couldn't remember. Why is the sand filter more effective?
Why is the sand filter more effective?
Yeah,
Well, it provides more surface area.
okay,
That's one thing, and then it slows down the treatment. And ultimately, when it reaches in this case, the static groundwater affected by high tide, which is around elevation 3.3 in this area of Greenwich. So we have
Sure.
more density, if you will, to filter the water as it percolates down through the sand. Whereas in a
So-
gallery system, it just runs right to the bottom and therefore
Right.
there's not as much surface area.
So question for you, why would we not do the sand as our first alternative in this type of hydrological situation?
Yes, let me stand up and turn the volume up a little bit, okay?
Okay, no, I'll shout at you, Mr.
No, please don't, please don't shout.
shout.
I'm in a
It's
very
when I
delicate
start-
condition here today. No,
When I call you Mr. Hegney, you can worry. But so the question is, why would not
yes,
the sand be your first alternative in this type of hydrology?
okay. In some cases, we use the galleries because we have suitable underlying soil, which provides the
Correct.
percolation. But when we're if we have good sandy material below and we're working on a tidal area, coastal area, we're not concerned about volume. So if
Got
we
it.
do have good material in a depth sufficiently above mean high water, we could use the galleries and take advantage of the natural soil. In this
Okay.
case, the original ground, if you will, is around 6 to 7, and therefore by putting in the layers, if you will, the different soil profiles for the filtration, we don't have enough depth to utilize the underlying sandy material that was backfilled behind
Got
the
it.
seawall.
Got it.
So
Okay.
it's always a matter of elevation to get all the layers in.
To get the layers in. And so
Yes.
you're looking at needing how much elevation generally before the galleries will be effective.
Right. So rule of thumb, and by the manual, we're aiming to be 2 feet above the restrictive layer, which is a term we used in the health department also. So it's a restrictive layer, whether it be high groundwater or unsuitable material. So that's where we start. And then we have different layers, in part depending on the volume and the area that we have to work with. So
Okay.
remember also in the drainage manual, we're only permitted to apply 1,000 square feet of impervious area to each lid area, unless we use something like permeable pavement, whereas we can use 5 times that. So few
Okay.
parameters we have to evaluate. You'll notice on this plan right now, the 2 sand filters are separated because you have to maintain a distance between the lid components when you're using them to treat stormwater.
Madam Chair, I've
Okay.
got to step away
Yes,
for
go
1
ahead.
second for an emergency. I'll be right back.
Ooh. Okay, let's just, I'm hoping I can't, he's seated, so we've got to, Nick, we have to wait till you come back. All right, we can do drainage class.
No, no, please, no more. This is gonna cost somebody if I have to start teaching.
Okay, Mr. Wells, we've got to wait a second because Mr. McRae's seated and he has to be hearing us the whole time, and I didn't get a chance before he stepped away.
Oh, darn. I had a filler question.
Yeah, you could ask Mr. DeAndrea how his golf game is, but once he's seated,
Non-existent.
he's got to be in the room. Your golf game is
Well, I
non-existent.
don't have time. They spend a lot of time prepping for the Planning and Zoning Commission every week.
Well, I thought we were easy peasy.
I expected to be done by 427 today.
Did you really?
Well,
That is European time or something?
no, I just keep my
Eastern
optimism.
you know,
It's what keeps
Pacific
us
ti-
going.
Pacific
Optimism.
time. You were on Pacific time.
Right.
I got to call. Let me call Nick and tell him we have to stall till he gets back. I don't think he realized that once you're seated, you're stuck unless you want to give up being seated, which we could also do.
Maybe we set a time limit and then we have 3 excellent alternates.
We have 3 excellent alternates. I know. I didn't announce who they were. Oh, I could ask you guys that. Is it all right if we stay with the alternate list until somebody votes and then we go to the next one? I had done that. Yeah.
Are you
Sorry
just
about that.
asking?
Sorry about that. We're all set here.
Okay, Nick.
Yeah.
The next time you do that, we have to stop.
Oh, I understand. It was an emergency. Everything's been resolved. We're good.
We're
actually-
like,
and
wait,
was
we
listening.
have to stop.
I
Oh, you
was
were
listening,
listening. So all you have to do is tell us I'm still listening and then you can walk away because as
Good.
long as you're
Oh, I'm still listening. I'm still listening.
Oh, next time, everybody, you just have to say you're still listening. Okay, Mr. Wells, you're on.
Yeah, just a quick question for Mr. DeAndrea. How often do you have to replace the sand filter? Is that, every couple of years or once a year or, yeah.
Virtually never.
Okay.
In this case, we're directing roof drainage to the sand filters. So water is basically clean. It's not like we're filtering runoff from the lawn or roof drains. In other words, we're not taking in the debris because we're filtering or taking those out in the junction boxes, which have inverted elbows to keep the dirt and the grit in the chamber, and that way only water goes through. But we have not and don't anticipate ever needing to change the filter material. If there had been a landslide or something and it gets dirty, and then we'd have to replace it. Sometimes swimming pools get inundated from the flood of the tidal water, so they have to be pumped out and cleaned. But that doesn't go through the sand filter.
But my sand filter has to be cleaned for the pool just because of the air pollution.
Right. I should have used the word filter in both of those, but we have junction boxes upstream from the sand filters, which allow us to clean the debris out periodically every year, at least as required by our MD 100. So if the owners are doing it in accordance with the document, then we don't anticipate any problems.
Thank you.
I don't have any other outstanding questions. Anybody from the commission? All right. Does anybody from the public wish to speak on this application? It is 9 Meadow Place. 9 Meadow Place. The applicant is named Start Capital LLC. It's 9 Meadow Place. It's a new house at 9 Meadow. Please raise your virtual hand. All right. I see nobody. Does anybody object? Oh, Michael Thomason, he's with you.
He's the
Mr.
next applicant.
He is. He's going to handle the
Um,
next application, Madam Chair.
Mr. Thomason, you gotta just sit tight for a sec. So does anybody object to closing this application at this time? Seeing no objection, I would take a motion from the shortly absented person.
Permanently absent?
Go ahead, sir.
Okay, what are we looking at here? This is notes. 9 Meadow Place, final coastal site plan, PLTZ 2025-445. Applicant seeking to remove the existing dwelling and site features to replace the existing seawall and construct a new single-family dwelling, in-ground pool, spa, retaining walls, patios, floating dock, boat lift gangway, and timber pier with associated site grading, landscaping located at a 6.655 acre property in the R12 COZ flood hazard overlay zone per section 111 of the building zone regulations and section 22A90 to 22A96 of Connecticut general statutes. Whereas the property is within the AE13 and VE16 flood zones. The commission finds that conservation issued comments at 41026 indicating comments to the proposal. Zoning issue comments dated 1/5/26, indicating applicant requires a variance of street side yard. ZBA granted a variance of street side yard requirements dated 3/23/26. DEP issued comments dated 1/20/26, indicating comments on the seawall. Sewer Division issued comments dated 2/23/26, requesting the applicant submit a signed letter of acknowledgement in the receipt of the P&Z comments. DPW Drainage issued comments on 3/25, indicating resubmittal prior to zoning permit. EMAC issued comments on 1/10/26, indicating favorable review. And Wetlands issued a permit needs questionnaire on 11/4/26, indicating no action required. It is noted per conservation comments that the applicant has added a male plant to the Ilex galabria, so the plants can be best utilized as by pollinators and birds. Therefore, a motion to approve the application for final coastal site plan with the following conditions. Per DEP comment, that the reconstructed seawall must be located in the same location as existing and be no larger than the existing wall and clearly indicated on the plan submitted for zoning permit sign off. For Sewer Division comments, the applicant has submitted a letter dated 1/29/26 acknowledging comments, and the applicant shall address any and all remaining staff or interdepartmental issues.
Okay, I'm looking for the language. In addition, we either make it as a whereas, but a license is required prior to, so help me out here, you guys, prior to the issuance of zoning and building permits, the Connecticut deep license shall be obtained for it's the pier, the floating dock, the seawall, the reconstruction of the seawall. And why do I feel like I'm missing something?
The boat lift?
Yeah, I'm.
Right, there's a
Okay.
boat,
Tracy.
Yeah, there's a boat lift, and there is also a refacing of a wall on, sorry, I'm losing a computer on one end here.
Yeah, and I'm in the same, and I lost my place. I had it
Yeah,
open.
no, it's the refacing of the wall on the southern property line as well. So there's two walls, a gangway, a pier, a floating dock, and a boat lift. I believe that's all the elements, but
Yes, I got it.
Yep.
Okay, there it goes. It's the seawall replacement, timber pier, gangway, floating dock, boat lift, and stone wall that's to be refaced prior to zoning permit. That zoning and building permits, the license for all of those must be obtained from Connecticut Deep.
Got it.
You
Just-
noted yeah, go ahead.
just a point of clarification, we could issue a zoning permit sign off for everything landward of the
Except-
seawall. It's just except, okay, just making sure.
You could, accept it's going to be tricky. You could do it prior to building permit, this requirement. Do you want to do it like that?
Mm,
Well, no,
No?
we'll do it like we
Okay.
did for 35 bar. I'm sure we'll do it in
Yeah.
two phases
Okay.
where we do everything landward of the seawall replacement can be done as soon as
Okay.
all those elements are taken care of. And then we go back and revise the zoning permit sign off to add all of the elements seaward of the seawall.
Yep. Okey doke, we got that. All right, do I have a second?
Second.
Mr. Lowe has seconded. Mr. Wells, how do you vote?
Aye.
Mr. Yeski,
Aye.
Mr. Macra.
Aye.
Mr. Lowe,
Aye.
Albin is also aye, and with that, the motion passes 5-0, and we move on. Thank you. All right, so I'm replacing you with Mr. Thomason. Away he goes. Mr. Thomason, there he is. I got you. Oop, he went away. Did you get him? There he goes. All right. All right, I'm just gonna move this. Nope, fine. Okie dokie. Our next application then is now number 6. We're skipping 5 because that was postponed. So Sherwood Farm LLC has been postponed. I asked the senior planner this, Patrick and Tracy. The commission did request a site plan visit for that whenever we can set that. So with that, we We go on to number 6, which is Just Salad at 409 East Putnam Avenue LLC for a final coastal site plan and special permit. This is going to consolidate 2 existing retail spaces, one a salon and the other a retail space in and of itself, into a fast food restaurant with 28 seats on a 0.8594 acre parcel at 393 to 409 East Putnam Avenue. This is in the LB Coastal Overlay Zone and Post Road Impact Overlay Zone. And with that, Mr. Thomason, kindly proceed.
Good evening, Madam Chair, members of the commission. Michael Thomason for the applicant, Just Salads. I think the chair did an excellent job of summarizing the application.
Actually, I just read out loud, but that's okay.
Okay. I would note that we listened to the briefing yesterday, and I think that the comments can sort of be distilled into 2 general categories of issues. The first is the classification of the anticipated use, whether it's a restaurant or whether it's a fast food restaurant. I submitted a letter yesterday explaining our position that we felt it was a restaurant, not fast food, and noted that the applicants, their core menu offerings are not pre-packaged. Salads, wraps, and smoothies are made there on site.
And do you have real utensils?
That I am not sure of. However, they do offer salad bowls that can be reused, so they're not entirely disposable.
Okay. Yep, that's fine. Okay, that's what you needed to put on the record.
Yep. And the applicant's business model is the same as Chopped, which was classified as a restaurant. So that was our thought there. And then the second sort of class of issues would be the parking, access, delivery comments. There was a meeting on March 30th with Tom Hegney, representatives from the landlord's engineer, and the town traffic engineer, Michael Kislyak. That resolved, I think, a lot of the comments that were raised, or all of the substantive comments raised by Beta and engineering. There's a couple of housekeeping items in terms of resubmitting a site plan to just clean up a few minor details that were in Michael Kislyak's comments, but in those issues will be resolved. The question of the delivery pickup, rapid pickup spot, 10-15 minutes or less type concept. Spoke with the landlord's representatives. They're entirely comfortable doing that. The applicant is comfortable with that. I think the logical place to put it is in the spot marked 1 right in front of the storefront. I think that's the place that will be used. I heard the comments yesterday requesting that rapid pickup be in the rear of the building.
I think we were saying 2 things, Mr. Thomason. We were saying that if you have a delivery vehicle, that it be in the rear.
100% agree with that. And there's
the pickup, we can tell people to park in the rear, but they'll likely park in the front. You can try if they have a designated parking and your parking is filled. But we were thinking if you had delivery vehicles more, and if you had Ubers, people who routinely come to pick up, that you reserve places for them in the back.
Okay.
But that was what we were saying. Your average person getting food for their family is going to be less likely to be compliant.
The restaurant, to the comments raised by Commissioner McRae, the restaurant, I spoke with the applicant, the restaurant was intended to be laid out such that the parking lot to the rear door is more of the main entry. And so it's our thought that
you'll get them compliant.
Perhaps someone who goes there on their first visit might use the door from the AT&T side, but perhaps upon your second, third, or fourth trip, you'll realize that the back door is really the front door, and you'll see some of those, repeat customers.
Terrific. Okay. All right.
And so from a programmatic standpoint, we think that's how that will work. Again, I think that the parking space that we're going to designate for Rapid, I think the most logical place is right in front, but we're happy to find.
No, I mean, you have to do what works for the restaurant.
Yeah.
Mr. Thomason, so that we can agree that that number one space in the front, 15-minute parking for drop off, pickup, that kind of stuff for the restaurant itself. Staff, if you can scroll to page 33 of the staff report, just
I think-
down one or two.
One comment on that. I think that
Yeah.
we weren't going to flag it for just salads. I think it was just going to be, assigned general to the shopping center is what was contemplated on our.
What do you mean?
So it wouldn't be signage as in just salads pick up and drop off. It would be rapid pickup, 15 minutes or less type of
Okay.
for the shopping.
So anybody can use it, but you're limited at 15 minutes. Got it.
Something to that effect, correct.
Okay, great. Staff, can you scroll to the lower left-hand corner? This is the back door. Understanding what you were just talking about, Mr. Thomason, I think I actually spent a little time developing the back door as an entry. That's a lot more inviting. It just doesn't look like the back door. If it's intended to be used as the primary entrance after the fact, let's make it work really well. Better signs, good lighting, that kind of thing. That way you're really presenting it as the face of the back. Keep going down, Steph. And then to the left. Bingo. Yeah, so some really good sign people, so they really understand. Yeah, come into this door to come into the restaurant from the back parking lot.
And that in our resubmission to the ARC, you will see a signage, adjust salad sign, right, sort of near where it's saying existing wall pack. We're going to put something on the wall there.
Okay, I think actually we don't have that resubmittal to ARC, and I know they wanted to get this back for as an electronic return. But I think actually really playing that up is actually a critical factor because you have probably a lot more parking in the back than you do in the front. And that's a lot more convenient, and you're not actually jockeying back and forth with the other tenants in the building in the front, seeing as their front doors are there as well. If we can go back to the site plan, I've got a quick question about that one space. So space number one is reconfigured from 2 spaces to this geometry. Were you intending on actually putting in the curb or just painting this, or how were you going to actually dedicate it so it looks like this?
I think that's going to be worked out between the landlord and town traffic engineers to exactly how that's going to flesh out.
Mm-hmm. Okay, but the space number one and the hatching around it to indicate it as space, are you guys going to actually paint that on the asphalt so it becomes a designated space like that?
The end result will be clear that there's one parking space there.
Okay. Right. And there is no parking adjacent to the building on Robertson Lane, correct? That's been removed?
I'm not sure on that.
Okay.
I don't remember either.
I know there are some spaces there. I've seen people in spaces there. It seems actually the building is right on the property line, so that's actually probably the right of way of Robertson. But I just want to be clear about that the spaces that we've been talking about are all internal of the
Correct.
site. Okay.
None of the counts all of the counts are within the property line.
Okay.
Is that it, Mr. Hagney? Mr. Hagney. Whoa, see, I knew I was going to do that. Mr. Yeske, you have your hand up.
Muted.
Mr. Yeske, if you would
Yeah, I'm
unmute.
always doing that. What's the
Yeah, we all
vacancy
do.
in the entire site?
I think there are some vacancies in the second floor office space, the
Okay.
smaller office spaces, but I believe all the storefronts are fully leased.
If I see the notes, and maybe this was discussed in the hearing, the staff
In the briefing.
varies between 8 and 15 people. Is that at one time? Is there like an average there somewhere?
It shifts. I think that they haven't figured out exactly what the needs are, but that's the range of staffing at locations, and it wouldn't be more than 15, but it wouldn't be fewer than 8. So it's not that that location, I think they're still fine tuning that, and that'll have to be fleshed out.
Maybe I can ask staff, if the staff is like 10 or 11 and the parking demand is 11 on the restaurants, what am I missing?
Well, the regulation is different for restaurants than it is for fast food. And restaurants, they have to have 20%. I'm not looking at it.
Yeah,
Patrick?
it's 20% of the net yield from the seats.
So they have for staff.
Right, for staff, but this current space right now has a demand for 28 parking spaces, and the seating arrangement here, depending on if it's fast food or not, would be less than that demand.
It would be 11 if it were a restaurant, 14 if it's
right
a fast food.
Got it. Okay, numbers work. Thanks.
So I'm going back to the parking for a sec. There we go. Okay, you guys, you're seeing the share, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I'm wondering, in this grouping here, who are you thinking is going to use the high turnover parking spots? You're down here on this corner. Mathnasium is here. I can't read all the signs. I could look at them before. Atelier, Quest Diagnostics, and I can't remember who this is. And what I would be careful of is that these guys stay in their area of the parking lot. I'm not sure you should go with an open 10 to 15 minute parking down here. It's up to you. It's up to the business guy. It's not per our regular, it's not a regulatory thing. I'm just wondering, Veg is doing very well, the veterinary emergency group, from what I've heard.
Mm-hmm.
So the question is, you might want to designate any parking that you have for quick pickup in the front here, because unless you're willing to share with the Mathnasium drop-off, Quest, I believe, has its vehicles in the back.
And Veg also has a rear entrance.
Yes. What I've seen is that people pull into the front and they dash in with their pet, right? I mean, I drive by here a lot and I see cars pulling in every now and then, and it seems like that's what they do. Now, if you have longer treatment, Patrick, what are your thoughts?
Madam Chair, they have signed parking for VEG in on the lot. I don't know how recent this picture is, but I've been to Quest in the last 10 days, and that's what they have.
So my question to you though, Patrick, is they have signed parking, but if somebody is seeing, oh, look, I can do short-term parking down over here, why don't I just do that and run in? I'm just thinking they would be better off having the restaurant sign, but it's their call. I mean, it's not a regulatory thing. I'm just trying to be helpful.
I mean, I'll leave it to the applicant to explain, but it's probably just a matter of not exclusively dedicating too many spaces in the parking lot to one tenant or the other.
Okay, makes sense. So because you have different peak hours, like the Mathnasium peak hour is when kids get out of school, and that's not a peak hour for the restaurant, they're willing to share. Quest is 9 to 5, right? Not when when the restaurant is busy.
Well, it's
okay,
also
got it.
appointment-based as the way that this place operates.
So you make an appointment and its operating hours are such that they're not competing with the restaurant. Okay.
Yeah, they're done by the dinner time. Yeah.
All right. So you're thinking just leave it unmarked, have it be general short-term parking, and anybody can use it who's going to run in and out. Okay.
My experience is having signed parking for tenants is more problematic than not. So if the time limit's fine, I don't think there's a problem with that. I just, tenant A, tenant B, that gets to be a little territorial, and it creates a little bit of a problem.
And the karate place uses the rear entry, right?
Yes, they have the storefront, but I believe that they are going in and out the back.
All right. Okay. I'm good. Okay. Any other questions from the commission? No other questions. Does anyone from the public wish to comment on this application at this time? Kindly raise your virtual hand. Again, this is for Just Salad at 409 East Putnam Avenue in Cos Cob. Just Salad. It's a salad restaurant. Not seeing anybody. Mr. Thomason, I did take a quick look at the images from your business. And it looks like they have plastic utensils, but they have reusable bowls, as you said. And it looks like it's not packaged, as you said. So, so it would seem that if you're looking to restaurant, it could work and you have sufficient parking. All right. So based on that, does anybody object to closing this application at this time?
No.
All right. Anybody object?
No.
No. All right. This application is hereby closed. Mr. Basili, I totally forgot to announce the public hearing. So I hope you were there and awake. Otherwise, we will send you the recording. He's good, right? You're good.
What did you say? No, I'm just kidding around. Don't worry. I know.
All right, so
I
we
think
are
by
in the-
now I know when it starts. I'm pretty not too bad
Yeah,
at that. I'm
I
not
am
senile
supposed to
yet.
announce it, but with the skipped application, I just went right by it. Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Basili. All right, okay. So we go on to our next application in the public hearing. And now we're back to Mr. Hegney. Thank you, Mr. Thomason.
Thank you.
Try Mr. Hegney again. Oh, he's in. Okay. All right, so our next application is number 7, which is 221 River Road LLC for a final coastal site plan and special permit for the proposed demolition of an existing 2-family house and construction of a new 2-unit residential building on an undersized parcel on a 7,052 square foot property located at 221 River Road Extension in the R6 coastal overlay zones and X flood zone. With that, Mr. Hegney, you're back on.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Good evening, members of the commission. For the record, Tom Hegney on behalf of the applicant. We were before you at the last meeting looking for earthwork volumes, which Mr. DeAndrea provided for the site, and elevations of the water table. He is confident that the property does not have a high water table and that a tight sealed basement will work here without an issue. We responded to the EMAC comments. Mr. Rydberg put additional comments together that we shared with the staff. And there's discussion on the sidewalk. One of the things that we did do as part of this is we pulled the wall back a foot to allow for 4 feet between the paved portion of the road and the wall, so that people wouldn't have to walk in the street if they were walking in front of the property. Not that that happens a lot. So we thought that was along the lines of what the commission was looking for in terms of a compromise. Just the discussion that we had with the the traffic engineer on Just Salads is working with the traffic engineer to come up with a plan. There is a plan for that. There really isn't a plan for here. And it really, we want to provide the space, but I don't think there's the demand like there is on the post road for a sidewalk. I think that addresses the items that
yeah, and we were ambivalent, exactly what you said, Mr. Hegney, where there is not a plan for something the town would fund and is considering funding at some point in the future. Why would an individual applicant be asked to get ahead of that? And that wasn't clear to us, as you heard. So this sounds like a very good step you took. Anything else from the commission on 221.
No.
Right. Okay, I got to, now both, I think Mr. McRae had already mentioned it at a meeting, but prior to CO or TCO, you would assure the waterproofness.
Yes,
Right.
that would be submitted by our engineer.
And then there had been some confusion about, I think it was conservation that raised the question, and Mr. DeAndrea or you answered what the follow-up steps would be in the future monitoring. So you responded to that. Do you want to say that again?
I saw Mr. DeAndrea around
Yeah, he's here.
somewhere before.
So,
Is he
yeah,
around?
Mr. DeAndrea, go ahead. You can answer the question. What you answered was what? The conservation had asked,
They,
what do you, maintenance in the future regarding the waterproof basement, et cetera,
Okay.
and what was your response?
okay, what I responded was that I excavated a deep test hole to install a piezometer to gauge the elevation of groundwater, if any, comma, and there is none. And that is a guide for the architect and the structural engineer to complete their design. I also responded that we have discussed with the owner the potential, if you will, for installing an exterior sump pump manhole, which would not be implemented at this time, but would be there as a factor of safety if necessary. So as it stands right now, the architect will be designing a qualified waterproofed foundation based on the continued monitoring of the groundwater to prove that there is no groundwater effect at this location. The soils profile proved to be 2 feet of material placed on top after years and years of raising the elevation of the property. And then we had a beautiful seam, if you will, of bank run gravel. And that went all the way down to below the elevation of the proposed elevation of the footing on the dwelling. So I am very comfortable as an engineer, having observed the condition myself and then observed it subsequently. There is no groundwater. As we discussed earlier on the other application, we know what the static groundwater is, mean high water. In this case, we have to prove that it isn't there, and in fact, it is not. When I excavated test holes originally during the initial design, which was designed primarily for drainage, we discovered a deep dry well at the left, or in this case, northeast corner of the property, at the back of the garage, if you will, which was handmade and beautifully done and bone dry. So I'm quite confident that we don't have any groundwater to contend with.
Okay. Alrighty. On the matter of, where did we leave the matter of the lifts? Mr. McRae, you had talked about wanting them to be in working order
Yeah,
prior to
I think
CO.
because the lifts are actually a solution to the required parking, we just have to make sure that that they're there and that they work.
Operational
Yeah.
prior to CO.
Yeah.
And you have no
Well,
issue.
yeah, we can discuss that later on, but I think it's just a matter.
Well, the applicant would have to know that what we were asking.
Yeah.
So prior
Okay.
to CO or TCO,
Something like that.
Mr. Hegney, you don't object to that,
No,
right?
not at all, Madam Chair. It's an important part of what we will be either marketing to a tenant or a buyer, that this is a real amenity that they'll want.
Okay. All right. Any further questions from the commission? All right. Seeing no further questions, does anybody from the public wish to speak on this application? This is at 221 River Road for the demolition and reconstruction of a two-family home. 221 River Road. Kindly raise your virtual hand. 221 River Road extension. All right. I see no hands. So with that, we do actually have a must close tonight. Does anybody object to closing this application at this time?
No.
Seeing no objection, this application is hereby closed. Thank you to all. And I believe Mr. Hegney, you're staying with us, or are you substituting Mr. Thomason?
To the end, actually.
To the end. Lucky. Okay. All right. Okay, so our next application is SW82 LLC. This is application number 8 for a final re-subdivision to reduce 151 Old Church Road, Lot 1 from 1.661 acres to 1.6190 acres, and to increase the size of 0 Old Church Road, Lot 2 from 1.7226 acres to 1.7647 acres for properties located at 151 Old Church Road and 0 Old Church Road. This is in the RA1 zone. Kindly proceed, Mr. Hegney.
Thank you, Madam Chair. When we were before you last time, there were 2 issues that we were looking to have addressed. One with the zoning enforcement officer in terms of lot area and whether the cottage was in the rear yard or not, would be eligible for the reduced setback for an accessory structure in the rear yard. And the other was the septic or sewer and what health could do in terms of clarifying that. The original subdivision in 1989 required that lot 2, when it's built on, have a septic and not be attached to the sewer. And that was on the record sheet that was recorded. So we've been attempting to work those items out. I had meetings the day after the last meeting with zoning enforcement officer. I've had 3 others since then. He's talked to Pat, and I think we had a solution. But we could, yes.
Okay, good.
That being the town planner, but I don't have it finalized, and I couldn't bring it to you tonight. So, and Michael Long is away till next week, and the client said, we've been thinking about this, and we don't really think we're going to want to build another dwelling here. And since you have this re-subdivision application pending, why can't we just merge them and forget about the lot line revision? We don't have to worry about zoning enforcement's issue. We don't have to worry about health or septic. And so that's that.
Okay, that's cool.
I sent a letter to staff just a little while ago, saying that our request of you with this application is to determine that it is not a subdivision or a re-subdivision. And so rather than treating it as a lot line revision, we would have the commission just treat it as a merger and combine the lots. And that's what was on the screen briefly before the current map, which shows the lot lines as they exist now between the 2 lots. And as you could see, these are fairly tortured lot lines to begin with, and trying to make
you learned that one
work.
from us. No, from Lonnie.
Yeah.
That was your subdivision that we never figured out
how. At those and say, I think,
Mr. Hegney.
Okay, hold on. Stop a second. Don't go yet, Nick. I know you want to ask a question. I want to turn quickly to Patrick first before anybody else talks. So just hold on. Okay, so I think it's still a lot line revision, right, Patrick? No, you're muted.
Sorry. It was brilliant, by the way, what I just said. So the applicant has applied for a lot line revision, although this concept or proposal would be different. I think the commission could find it to be a smaller ask in merging the lots. It's a different revision, but it's
incorrectly noticed.
But again, it's asking to merge the lots as opposed to keeping 2 lots. So again, a reduction in the total ask.
Yeah, but what you've advertised and what you've noticed is for something different.
Right.
And so an average member of the public who is not privy to this would be surprised when we pivot in a meeting and what was a lot line revision that changes the size of lots. I mean, I'd like to move forward, but I'm playing the devil's advocate here. It has been noticed as a change in the size of each lot, and where's your transparency and your FOIA?
Well, again, the commission could amend, they have the ability to approve, amend, or deny applications. So in the same vein,
Okay.
the application that
All right.
before them may not be exactly what is sought. However, if it was a greater design, then that would be probably a situation where we renotice. I'm not so sure here. It's absolutely necessary.
Okay, so let's do this as a I'm not sure Mr. Hegney's gonna like this a lot.
As long as it happens today, I'm
That's
fine
what
with
I
the
didn't think you
compromise.
were gonna like. I,
If I could be heard on this, Madam
go ahead.
Chair.
Okay, so keep going, but I just wanted to make sure
Because
we laid it all out on the table
If
before
in
you asked.
fact, we had as part of our regulations, either in the subdivision or the building zone regulations, a lot line revision process or a regulation on it. I did write one
Telling you
30
to
years
write
ago,
it.
but I'm not going to tell you that now.
Yeah, and I keep asking you to send it in. It could work.
But the application that we filed and what was noticed to all our everyone that received notice from us was a re-subdivision application.
Yes.
And so that's not changing. And if I were to refile this, I would still have to file it as a re-subdivision application, and it would be considered a merger, because when you're starting with 2 lots and you're ending up with one, it's not a re-subdivision or a subdivision. The other part that I want to point out is, as part of the 1989 subdivision, there was a reserve area, a little over half an acre of reserve area that was set aside. I went through the declaration of restrictions that was filed with that on the land records at the time the subdivision map was recorded, to see what we would need to do if we wanted to incorporate that into the 2 lots or reincorporate it. In the late 80s, early 90s, what was the requirement if you wanted to change it was you had to go to the Planning and Zoning Commission, obviously, the Board of Selectmen, the RTM, and get approval from all your abutting property owners. So what I said in the letter to Pat was, this merger does not affect that reserve area or the conditions that are placed on it, because that's been part of the title to the lots 1 and 2 as part of it. So that remains an open space parcel, which if someone was looking at this and said, well, gee, now they're changing the square footage of the 2 lots, that is not the case. So I think that with the notice that we sent out and the fact that this is listed as a public hearing item, which if there were regulations on a lot line revision, I suspect would not be, but it is listed as a public hearing item. Public has received notice of the 2 lots and any issues that would be involved with it. And I don't see why we can't revise what we were asking for and end up with, as you see on this plan before you, something much simpler, much cleaner, much more direct, and do it within the application that's pending before you.
Okay, so Mary, go first and then I'll respond to Mr. Hegney.
Yes, Mr. Hegney, how long has there been common ownership of the 2 lots?
Since they were created in 1989.
Okay, thank you.
So I think I'm not going to respond to Mr. Hegney. I'm going to run this by staff. So whereas the applicant has proposed and the commission agrees that this application, this is what it might read like, that this application would be modified to merge the 2 properties, creating one single, we'll do the math in a minute, 3.5, so they said that, yeah, 3.5 acre property. And then we just find that it's neither a sub nor a resub. something like that, Patrick?
I think that's, yeah, that's more than what I would have been able to put together
Well,
quickly.
I'm uncomfortable with the fact that it's noticed one way and that it is being changed in its nature, even though I see Mr. Hegney's point. It's that our finding is the same. It's neither a sub nor a resub. And technically, it is still a lot line revision, only it's a bigger lot line revision because you're eliminating a lot. The one thing is when you transform this, you're not rising to subdivision because you don't meet all the requirements of rising to subdivision to resub. Is that correct, Patrick? So
I think it has to be considered under a resub because it is a change to a map that was approved by the commission.
yes, but do we still decide that it's neither a sub nor a resub because
Yes.
it only eliminates the existence of one lot, but it does not have the other factors that would have it rise to a resub?
I will say I do not believe that this action
rises to a resub.
Well, so definitely not a subdivision. I think it's up to the commission to
Resub.
determine.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I got to pull out this. All right.
You
Mr.
have-
Harris.
This is the same process you have followed for other lot consolidations in the past. It
Right.
comes in
I know
with the
that.
resub.
But
Okay.
it's just, I'm in midstream and that's a very different proposition because we've noticed something to the public. Mr. Harris and then Mr. McRae, and then if Patrick still wants to talk.
I just wanted to ask what the urgency with going today is. I don't think I understand anything associated with this application that has that kind of urgency. And I think that if there is a question, I'm not a lawyer, so I will defer to the lawyers on this, but when it comes to providing notice to the public, I worry about, I worry that it might be a good thing to err on the side if there's judgment with the notice to the public.
Thank you, Mr. Harris. So that's the other thing. I pointed out yesterday that this is listed as a must decide tonight. And that can't be because it should be listed as a must close.
No, I'm
So-
sorry. As a re-subdivision,
No,
it's
I'm just telling you that it is posted as a must decide.
yes, and that's correct, Madam Chair.
Yes, that is correct. We've checked
It's
with
in the
Peter.
public hearing. It's in the
Yes,
public
but as
hearing.
subdivisions are required to be in the public hearing, but they follow the same statutes as subdivision applications.
All right, so there you have your answer. There is an extension available, Mr. Harris, but it is up to Mr. Hegney if he decides to grant it to us, and he is indicating that he is relatively unwilling. We might be able to coax him, but at the moment he is unwilling. We are out of time, given what he has assigned us. Mr. Lowe.
Yeah, this, I concur with, or I'm thinking along the lines that you've been thinking, that, and we really don't know what the consequences might be. It seems very straightforward. It seems though that, but it wasn't noticed. And we're following procedures and our regulations really to the T whenever we can. And I share also Mr. Harris's question about the urgency. And obviously, everybody wants to get something done now, if it's possible, put it behind us. It eliminates, waiting for everybody and any other administrative tasks that might have to be done. But it seems to me that I think it could be a poor precedent somehow.
Mr. Hegney and then
Madam
Patrick.
Chair, yes, if I can respond to Mr. Harris, Mr. Lowe's question, because there is more to this than just the lot line revision. There's a tennis court currently in the front yard. And there's a problem with the driveway coming in and going under a portico where the UPS trucks don't fit under it. And the people that have recently purchased this are looking to make it a more gracious front yard. And to that end, they want to take the tennis court away from where it is, have a curved driveway, put the tennis court in the backyard. And the thought was that we would need to have a dwelling there in order to have it as a accessory use with a primary dwelling. Since this has gone on for a while, they've decided they don't want to have another dwelling here. They have the cottage, which is grandfathered in before zoning, and they just want to be able to put the tennis court in the backyard. And to that end, they have an application pending before the wetland agency, which is the day before this commission meets next, which is to remove the tennis court from where it is, put it in the backyard where it's a level area, but both are within 100 feet of the upland review, and they're within the 100-foot upland review area, and revise their driveway. And so that's what's driving this, and they want to get that done in order to be able to use the court this summer. And so we don't think there's an issue with the wetland application that's going to have that drag on. And so we would like to be in a position to tell the wetland agency, yes, either we have combined them into one lot so that there is no issue with putting the tennis court in the rear yard, and then modify the driveway location. So that's the tennis court that's there. They want to put it roughly where the circle is, to the right or north part of the property, and then be able to revise the driveway location. And all that is pending before the wetland agency. And I thought that we would have this part of it resolved before we got there, because that would allow them to approve it. But and
When you
we do have
schedule
a
the
sign off
wetlands?
sign off from wetlands to proceed with this. We're
When do
in
you,
front
when
of
are you before wetlands?
on the 27th.
Oh, that's unfortunate. Okay.
That's so
Right.
when I'm asked what this urgency is, it's that because they only meet once a month, then we're put off till May, and then getting the tennis court going is going to be problematic for the
All
summer.
right. Mr. McRae and then Mr. Lowe, I know you don't have your hand up, but since you had questions, it's important that we know where you're coming out. Mr. McRae.
Mr. LaRoe, understanding that the issue with the wetlands agency and the reconfiguration of the site amenities, would it be possible for us to send a memo through staff to wetlands concerning the lot consolidation, and that it may happen after their meeting?
Well, I think just like a zoning application, I
can't
would
just-
imagine the wetlands agency can only act on the properties that are in existence at the time.
It has to be an approval from us. My guess, Tracy's would echo that, right? It's got to be an approved zoning lot.
Okay, because I'm thinking I understand
Yeah.
where Mr.
I'll be
Hagan's
honest, I'm
coming from. I
not sure it
understand-
does. I mean, wetlands is approving activity within distance to wetlands where the lot lines
All right.
happen to be at the time may not actually be their concern.
If
Okay.
if that's amenable to the commission, I think we could write something to say that if Mr. Hickey
Okay.
could extend it, that we would
Let's-
just
yeah.
Right.
we would say we have a notice issue that we'd like to address and have it back on our next meeting. Please consider this application going forward as a merged lot, and
Right, thinking that idea, although I know Mr. Hagan would appreciate this, is just postponing it to the next meeting, putting him at the top of the block, getting the correct map in, just to renotice. I would say whatever staff can do to actually make this easy for Mr. Hagney. That way we can dispense with this with the proper areas, lot areas, the reserve areas, so on and so forth. That way everything's kind of buttoned up.
Okay, I'm liking this. Mr. Hegney, could you get in the revised map in time for the posting on Friday?
Oh, yes. Yes. This is, Soundview didn't have the time to do it
Okay.
today for me. So this
Okay.
was all done by my staff. And I did speak with Aidan McCann at Soundview and asked him if I could make these changes and submit it to you as a proposal.
Okay.
which he was gracious enough to agree to.
Okay.
All
right, why don't we-
can have
Mr.
this
Hagney,
for you right away.
Mr. Hagney, quick question. Is there a zoning location survey in front of wetlands that shows that relocated tennis court?
Lot lines? Yes, there is.
No, okay.
And we
Yes.
don't have it, right?
No,
remember
because
seeing
it wasn't germane to the
Oh, it
lot
wasn't
line revision.
germane.
Okay,
Got it.
maybe that's the
All right.
map we should be using, so we know, you
Yeah,
know.
okay. We're good. So I like this plan. Good job, folks. If Mr. Hegney's okay with it, it's tidier, which is what everybody was trying to say. It's a better way to go. We're doing what is noticed. You'll revise it. You'll need to give us an extension. We'll put you right at the top of the list, you know, decision items right off the block for the 28th agenda.
Yeah, because
And
it's really critical that we're able to move ahead with wetlands. That's
yeah,
my
so
answer
we'll
to
help
the
you.
question that
Okay,
that
that
Mr.
was where you
Harris
were
brought
critical,
up.
and we'll make sure that staff contacts wetlands and that you can move ahead. But
I think it's a memo of housekeeping to the
yeah,
wetland
you
staff.
just have to be careful how you word it, staff.
Yeah, we won't be implying that there's been a decision made, just that there is a notice to do a merger now and not the revised lot
Right,
line.
and that is, you can say there's been no negative input from the commission.
Right.
Yeah, so you could say there's been no negative response from the commission. The applicant proposed revising this to a merger, and the commission had no objections, that voiced no objections. And at that point, you haven't predetermined how we're going to vote. Yeah, I like that better just from the transparency point of view, Mr. Hegney. And that to me is essential.
I
And I think
as
these
long
guys did
as
a
the
great
wetland
job.
agency says,
Yeah.
we don't have an issue with this, then it's fine. If the wetland agency does, then I'm sort of sunk because
No, you're not necessarily sunk. We might be nice to you, and we
no,
have
but
to.
I still won't be in front of the wetland agency until May, at the end of May.
Right.
So that's that timing issue
Yeah, I'm
between
really
our
sorry
next
that.
meeting and
Yeah.
the wetland meeting that
I'm really
creates the
sorry
issue.
you didn't raise this, because I mean, I would have thought they know us well enough to know that everybody would have known us well enough to know that the first question we're going to ask is, what about transparency and the public notice?
Mhm.
I mean, you know us well enough to know that's where we go.
Well, Michael's still in the attendees, so I'll ask him through this hearing to send the extension letter over to.
Great.
It's just,
Okay.
it's 2 weeks. I'm sorry. People wait
No.
months and months, and I appreciate your
Yeah.
alleged hardships, but
Clients get impatient.
I understand.
He's responding to
But
the
it's-
impatience. Yeah,
It's actually ends up 6 weeks because I'm not in front of the wetland agency at the end of this month. I'm in front of the wetland agency the end of May. So that's the loss. If it was just the 2 weeks, yeah, I agree. But and without the wetland approval, we can't really move ahead with doing any of the site
we
work that we're looking
understand.
to do.
we got it.
We understand.
Okay.
All right, thank
All
you.
right. All right. So thank you, Mr. Hegney. And so we will continue this oh, wait a second. We need to ask for public comment as
Thank
well.
you.
Thanks. As soon as you raised your hand, I said, yep. All right. Any public comment on this application, 151 Old Church Road and 0 Old Church Road? Any public comment? All right. Anybody want to raise their virtual hand? No, there's actually hardly anybody here right now. There's only 10 people left.
Mr. Rydberg is in the audience, and he will be with me on the next application.
Yes, we know that. Okay, so
Free application.
this application will be continued. Mr. Hegney will be providing an extension, and this application will be continued. And you really only need to extend us to 428 from what I'm hearing.
Yes, I hope so.
Now, that said, it would be cool if you could get the sewer thing, and just in case you ever change your mind, but
Yeah.
okay. All right, I got it. It was weird. It was a weird configuration. All right, so with that, Mr. Basili, I'm going to remember now. So endeth the public hearing.
Oh, very good. Thank you. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
See you next time. Thanks.
See you. All righty. We now go back to the regular meeting, and we have our two pre-applications. The first one is Vale Blossom LLC for a pre-application review to construct a 4-story 9-unit apartment building, including 1 affordable housing unit on a vacant parking lot, and a proposed zoning map amendment to go with that to rezone the property from the P zone to the CGB, located at 49 Brookside Avenue in the P and CGIO zones. I actually didn't think the rezone was necessary since it went by default to the pre-existing, so I'm not sure why it's there, but I thought you just defaulted to the CGB once the P zone, because your P zone and it's gone.
Madam Chair, I agree. That's been the interpretation of the past and current zoning enforcement officers on this particular issue. It can't be in a P zone anymore because there is no P zone. And what Pat was relating to you at the briefing yesterday, prior to it, it was in a BG zone, which became then the CGD zone.
So we've cleared that up, and the commission, there's the 20-minute clock, sir. So go ahead.
All right.
You don't want to go to our questions, right?
I wanted to go through this with you briefly, just to flesh it out for a few minutes, and then I'm happy to talk about it, because I think there were 2 main issues that came out of yesterday's briefing.
Indeed.
And if Rudy's joined us, great.
And they're both for Mr. Rydberg, really.
Yes, understood. So we had this was part of being used as overflow parking for first A&P when it was done, and then Acme. Acme's now out of business, but more importantly, the lease that existed for this property to be used with Acme has expired. So this is a separate parcel that we're looking to develop, as you indicated, 4 stories, 9 units, 1 of which would be affordable. And this is under section 6-110 of our regulations. We've designed it to meet the floor area, height, building coverage, lot coverage. We're providing 22 parking spaces, 17 in a garage under the building, and 5 surface spaces. There will be 2 bedrooms, 1 of which would be affordable, and 7 3-bedrooms. There's a roof deck that we're providing, and at-grade patios as well. And to address the one issue that came up, Madam Chair, from your comments yesterday, there are 2 fire escapes that are on the bottom page here, interior of the building. And this is required by the building code because you need 2 means of egress from the upper floors. And we have a main staircase that is near where the elevator shaft is in the center of the building. And we need a remote other egress. And Rudy has gone through this with the building code officials for the town, that this is an acceptable additional second means of egress. Although I said, Rudy, you had heard that there was some discussion of eliminating the second means of egress in certain instances, and that hasn't yet happened in the building code, but maybe something would happen over the next few months.
No, they talked about it, and also they talked about it when they had some discussion about affordability changes for the building code. I don't think it's going to go anywhere.
You would probably have your ear to the ground more than that.
It's hard to tell.
Madam Chair.
They keep thinking it's zoning, and they don't understand that the building code raises costs as well. They just are not seeing, but go ahead.
So that was one of the items that we had. The second was a question on curb cuts. We have one if we can go to the, I think it's,
Page
there's
3.
a colored version. Yeah. Where do we go? Oh, where'd our colored version go? I guess that was the one we just sent in today, but let's use this one, page 3. So we have one entrance only off of Brookside. And the reason that it's entrance only is that we cannot meet the sight lines required for an exit there. And this is where the 5 surface parking spaces are. This is where deliveries would come in. And then we have a second curb cut on the right-hand side or the north side of the property that's both for ingress and egress. And that also takes you down into the parking garage because we needed to have a longer run to be able to get under the building and meet the grade requirements for the ramp going into the garage. Rudy, you want to wait for questions or you want to just add a little bit more to it?
I'm happy.
Um,
I'm happy
yeah.
to chat. And can I get the color plan or do you want me to share my screen? Because I think it makes the site read better. Does somebody have that still or should I
And
share?
also, Mr. Rydberg,
Yes.
you've got their hands up and I am guessing that they're going to be for you.
Okay. Can I share my
Yeah,
screen or does
if you
somebody
have
have
it,
that?
if you have it available, that'd be fine, Mr. Rydberg.
I have it. So let me see if I can do this without totally messing up here. Tell me if you can see that.
Nope. It says your screen sharing. There we
There
go.
it is.
Okay. Okay, so quickly on what Tom's comment was about the 2 curb cuts. So what we were trying to do here was to develop an entrance into a nice new building. And we wanted to do a one-way entrance in because we knew that the sight lines didn't work to the south. So we entered in straight into the center of our facade. We could park either side. It'll be well landscaped along Brookside. And then we would have a one-way out to get to the double end, the entrance and egress that's at the northwest corner of the property. And that is the lowest part of the property. What I think works well here is that when we do the grade to get under the building, we don't have to have a big steep driveway to get underneath because we're already at the lower end of the site. This property has almost 10 feet, believe it or not, or almost more than that from the northwest corner to the southeast corner. The southeast corner is up at like 118. So that was why I think the colored plan here really shows how much green area we have right now. There's I think there's 1% of green there now. We've located this building so that we have 4 sides for each of the apartments that are on each floor. This is the first floor, so there's the two bedrooms on the right side, on the north side of the building, and then on the south side there is the 1 3-bedroom on grade. So these are 3 units on the first floor, and they're on grade. So they all have nice light. They have courtyards. Our main entrance is coming through with the interior stair in the middle. You come through, we have our elevator, and then we can get out into a nice green courtyard that will be landscaped by Wes Stout in the future when he does his work. So I think this shows how well situated it is. We'd still like to keep the one-way in so that when you come in, you look at the building. If we eliminated that, we'd come in sort of at that awkward corner and you come in, and yes, we can make that a 2-way to get up into the parking, but then you got to turn around and go back out again. So I think this works better for, the trucks to come in, the FedEx, the post office and so on, the parcel deliveries and so on, so that they can come onto this site and then they can exit out the northwest corner where there's 2 entrances. So we would love to keep that entry there. We just think it functions better on a site basis and drop off. That's where our handicap space is at the front of the building. You come in and you exit out the side. The commentary on the way this egress is, because I have the 2 wings of the building, rather if I push them together, I would then have, just 3 facades that have light. And so when we first started this, there was, I had already contacted our code consultant, and we were discussing the fact that there was going to be a code change that would allow for 4 stories buildings with 1 stair. So we had met the egress requirements for the one exit. We had the stair width. The stair gets wider in that plan. And then about a week before we were getting ready, they decided not to vote on it. So we came back in and said, okay, we need to have 2 exits. We need 2 exits from the roof. And we came back and we said, look, we can do this. It's legal. I've already confirmed that with the town and with the state of Connecticut, the building official, and we can have this egress. There are other spots in town that have some egress stairs on the outside of the building. Greenwich Office Park has a couple that are 2 stories. And I've noted a few other around town. So we tucked these 2 exit stairs in to the east side of the building up against the corners of each of these units. So they're hidden, and we've seen them before in many other cities. They come in and we would have this be a probably glass handrails, or we could screen it in such a way as long as we meet the definition of the egress and safety. So that's why we have the 2 stairs tucked on the inside. And can we go to the roof plan, Tom? Who's controlling who's controlling your plan? Do we need to see this again, or can we go to the roof plan and I'll eliminate the share? Do we need to look at the colored plan again? Oh, you can already do that. You're good.
No, I don't think so. Yeah, the roof plan is.
Yep, right there. Okay, the top
Here.
of that. Can everybody see Tom's scheme there, the plan?
Yep.
Okay, I don't have to stop sharing. Okay, so if you look on the plan below, that's a typical 2nd, 3rd, and 4th floor plan. Each unit would have its own 3-bedroom on either side of the common core. We come in and we have a master suite on one side and we have a 2-bedroom suite on the other side. So if you get up to the roof, you can see that we would have area up top for various people in the building to have rooftop amenities. We have to have a minimum of 2 exits from the rooftop as well. So we actually have 3, and you could exit from your unit, come up to serve come up to the roof or go up the elevator and come across the roof. We will have mechanical units up on the roof hidden, and we'll probably we're showing some skylights that would go into the 2 penthouse units up on top. So
we need to
that's
get to
that's my
questions.
concept.
Okay, Mr. Rydberg, Nick, then Dennis, then Mr. Harris.
Yes, Mr. Rydberg,
Yes.
is the existing stone wall along Brookside being
Perfect.
retained?
Well, there is a nice site wall there. I don't see why we can't have it. I don't think we've gotten into that much detail, but it looks like it's been there with Byron black granite for 100 years.
Right. Okay. So keep that on your list.
Yes.
I think actually you should go and endeavor and really put effort into minimizing the curb cuts. Right now you've got a curb cut on the adjacent property that factor out access to that old supermarket. Having 2 more really compromises the aesthetic of the streetscape. If anything you can do to actually minimize it, bring it down to 1, that would probably be most appreciative.
Okay.
The egress stairs, are they enclosed?
If you zoom in, we
Oh,
have shown
sorry,
them
I
in.
just bumped you. Someone's gonna have.
That's okay. There you can see the wall.
Okay, so I just bumped you to show everybody the wall.
Yep.
And
So
that's
that's
why
we have an
weren't-
established streetscape, lots of vegetation. That wall
Yep.
really kind of
Right.
contributes a lot to it.
Yep.
Keeping that stone wall actually would be a real plus for this as I see it.
And
Now,
Nick, but before you go on, looking at the street trees and at the utility poles, I'm wondering if you overlay that with the drivers or maybe with the driveways, if Mr. Rydberg has figured this out already. I'm thinking you're going to be removing street trees and or relocating that utility pole, if I'm picturing this right.
No, utility pole, you can see it on the colored screen that I had before. We're missing both of the poles.
Okay, and what about our
There's a
street
fire
trees?
hydrant, sorry, 1 pole and a fire hydrant.
And what about our street trees?
That 1 street tree that's there, that one will go, but we would add other street trees. We want to have that's about where we would have the entrance to come
Yeah,
into the
but
center of the property.
The reason you have this wall is looks like you've got this grade change in here. So you're this line of vegetation, which Mr. McRae just referred to as established, is quite attractive. Okay, go ahead, Nick. I'm sorry, you were in the middle of something.
Okay, so the second egress, are they enclosed?
No, they're not fully enclosed. They would be as minimal as possible, maybe all glass railings, or I think what we've actually shown in this screen is in our renderings, we have a screen that would enclose the structure, but it would still be considered open, so it wouldn't be considered FAR.
Oh, okay. Then actually next step is, okay, a screen or something that actually encloses the stair. I'm just going to say this just because I can't think of another way of addressing this. It would be a stair with a cage around it. That's what I would be saying.
Essentially. Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
great. The balconies some balconies have a similar situation. Is that the same? Where there's a balcony area that actually has a screen around it or some kind of cage?
No, those are just wide open, and they're going to most likely have glass or some kind of railing system, but we think that they would be glass balconies, at least 42 inches high, probably 48.
Okay. I would think also as part of your next steps, I know this is just schematic design and we're looking at massing models. Please go back and do a thorough code research in terms of the stairways themselves to make sure that they don't have to be fully enclosed or sprinkled or anything like that. That way we can actually see this, because I think this kind of open stairway may make a lot of people uncomfortable.
Very uncomfortable, Mr. Rudberg.
Lack of a better way to say this is that it's indicative of a old iron fire escape that we've seen on,
Bingo. And if I was in this building playing full market, I would be really uncomfortable with these staircases. Now, that's just, personal anecdotal. Is that it, Mr. McRae? You want to go ahead?
Again, I think actually it was the driveways. That's a critical thing with the driveways.
So really something with the driveways, because it sounds like a beautiful idea, lovely, elegant entrance to the building, and you're taking down a whole lot of trees, and you're still going to have that retaining wall. So now you're going to have to regrade. You are doing a lot of regrading to make that central driveway, if I capture correctly, because you've got what looks like a 2-foot grade drop here. And if you go down to the, my arrow doesn't help. If you go down to the driveway that goes to the garage, it looks like your grade is flatter. So uncomfortable with the number of curb cuts. Mr. Yeski.
Yes, I'd like to get back to regulatory instead of designing the building. I wasn't in the briefing, but did anybody bring up the fact we're getting one affordable unit? I know this is a 6110.
It's a 6110 and it complies with the regulations.
Yeah, but in the past, we've always come back and said, hey, that's less than 10%.
No, we haven't. There's a page on the right, not on this one. There's a page on the 6110 regulations. It's, I'm just trying to find where the page is because I was looking at it over the weekend. And there's a table in the 6110 regulation that specifies, it's page 943 of our regulations. And it says, when you have 10 or fewer units, you provide one must be below market rate. That is at AHU. And for that, you get 0.75 FAR and 45-foot max height and 4 stories. That is exactly what the reg
I remember
says.
that, but I'd still think they get an extra story and we get 1 unit. I'm not sure that is a wonderful deal for the town. Let's put it that way. And I understand in the regulation, but we've always leaned on other attitudes about what we need in terms of the town. And the second question would be, do they have enough property on this to build this building? Unless they're going to go off site. I don't know whether they have an answer to that, but it looks like a pretty tight site to build this 4-story building. Yes, no, Rudy?
Can I comment?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Rudy, Mr. Rydberg, go ahead.
Okay. You're talking about the constructability of building this building
on
the
one
site.
Yeah.
Well, what's interesting is their total site, their coverage, their lot coverage. Mr. Rydberg, you've got the numbers right in front of you. I'm scrolling to find them. But looking at them yesterday, here we go. their lot coverage in total is only 15%, where 75% is allowed. Their building coverage is right within our zoning regulations at 29.8%, where 30 is allowed. And then they have the FAR of 0.74, where we're giving them an incentive to go to 0.75.
I
But in
get that.
fact-
but I'm talking about actually physically building the building.
But the
I think if,
go ahead.
okay, I'm sorry. I think
Go
if
ahead,
you
Mr.
actually
Ridberg, you're up.
look at the amount of area we still have, we have a large amount of parking in the front and we have the driveway down into the bottom. So I think from a you know, from a constructability standpoint, we have plenty of room to be able to build this building, put parking on the site, and also, you know, bring in the materials. Again, it's going to be part of the contractor's decision how to make that, but we have property. The thing is, we're not removing really any trees or anything other than if whatever one we need to move at the front entrance. Okay, the rest of the
I got
space
it.
is all pavement right now. So we don't have to remove any green area now. We can work the entire site.
I give my time to Mr. Harris as opposed to Rudy.
Okay. Now, Mr. Harris and then Mr. Lowe.
I just wanted to ask, I mean, I think it's great that this is going from a parking lot to something that's going to have more permeable space. I was a little surprised that in the border between your driveway and, you know, a very industrial kind of existing building, which will not be a grocery store going forward, but is very industrial looking. I was a little surprised that you didn't take the opportunity to do some more screening and some more vegetation between the driveway and your property line. And I don't know if that's a quibble because you're obviously converting this from a parking lot to something that has more green. But I just, knowing that area very well, I was just surprised you wouldn't take the opportunity to enhance the screening and the vegetation on that
There will
side.
definitely be screening there, Mr. Harris. This is a landscape architect has not been hired. I mean, he's not on board fully yet. So we just took I wanted to show a green area plan. There should have been some landscaping there. We only did this like 2 days ago, just so you can see the depth of the site with the amount of green. There would also be more on the southerly side. So we have a setback over there. We have about 8-9 feet of area there to put landscaping against. And you know, again, depending on what happens with the Acme building, I'm sure there's somebody else who's going to build something there. And not be all the driveway, which that driveway is there for the trucks that are there. But no, there will be definitely more green area there and in the front once our landscape architect comes on board.
Okay.
Thank you. I
Mr.
look
Lowe.
forward to that.
Yes.
Mr. Lowe.
Yeah, we're out of time. I recognize. Again, I just want to clarify, do the safety protocols permit you to screen these so-called fire escapes, perhaps with some, I know we've been talking about festooning plant material or anything?
On the stairwells?
Yeah. Well, those, yeah.
Yeah, this cage that I'm talking about or screening that I'm talking about, I can send, we can on the next go around, we can show you a picture of where it's
All
been
right,
done.
that
We
was
can add
all.
green like they did in Milan if you want to do that cool building that's over there.
Oh, that is such a beautiful
Yeah,
building. I'm not sure it
Yes,
would thrive.
let's go with Milan right there on Brookside
No,
Drive.
I'm not sure. They haven't seen it, I don't think, but that
Right
is
next
such
to
a gorgeous
Mr.
building.
Tessie's office. That's
Yeah.
good.
Exactly. 2 doors away.
I don't think the vegetation, our winters are harsher. I
Yeah.
would love
No,
to
I
see
got
that,
it.
but you remember that Ferrari tried to do it on Equinox.
We
and
could
it
borrow
looks
those,
so bleak.
some of those yellow tulips from the Shell station in Old Greenwich. Anyway,
So, but really, I think what you're hearing from us is twofold. There's a third point here. Number one, super uncomfortable with having to do these outdoor staircases. 2, not happy with the 2 curb cuts. Can you do something that has less impervious and less curb cuts? This is a funny street for traffic because it gets very busy sometimes a day and not, you know, it's just funny.
well, it routinely backs up at
okay.
that light on Brookside. Right?
Exactly where I was going. And third, so the issue is, okay, let me just finish the wrap up. Staircases, multiple driveways. What can you do to affect the sight lines? Stonewall pretty, it is holding back. It looks like it's partially a retaining wall. I'm sure you've looked at it, but it looks pretty. We'd like to see you save it, and yet you're putting 2 curb cuts into it, which means you're giving it a lot of discontinuity. Mr. Harris is asking if you're screening additional so people don't see the Acme building. I think you were planning on that, looking at it. But those are the keys that we've given you so far. Those are our pieces of feedback that what we would like to see you consider when you return with the app.
That's
I
all
can
very
make one-
helpful, Madam Chair.
Can I make one last comment?
Of course, Mr.
On
Rupert.
that in drive there, we've taken great consideration on how to lay that site out. We're not having a steep drop off. The grade at where the word Brookside was, the 00, we're coming in at 106, 105, and we're coming in and we're meeting the grade that's inside that wall. So that the property slopes up to the south, believe it or not, slopes up to the south. We've cut through the wall. I agree with the wall is a nice wall. And I think we've made it gently sloping to get down to the existing grade where the northwest corner is. So we can show some sight lines through the setback when we come in.
Not so much asking you for site plans, asking you for one driveway less.
No.
Just want
Okay,
to make
well,
sure
the-
I'm clear.
I just wanted, yes, and I agree with that 100%. I just think somebody should look at the traffic way, how you would drive into this site if we only had this
Okay.
the southwesterly site. Come
Deal.
in with a
Deal.
come in with a Amazon truck. Now I've got to pull in and I've
Deal.
got to turn. I'm trying to get a fire truck to come through there.
Okay.
I haven't met with Mr. Dawson yet.
So start with Dawson.
Yep.
Don't start with Dawson. Talk to him. We'll all go drive the site. We're very good about
Yep.
checking things out.
We're very excited about what we've created here. So
Yeah,
we'll
and
get
I'm
more
sorry because
for our
our
site plan.
job is to harass you.
That's fine.
I think, as Mr. Harris said, it's going to be a real improvement to having a parking lot, and it adds a kind of unit that is in demand in Greenwich. We do need market rate apartments. Definitely, we need affordable. I saw some numbers last night related to something else. We need deeply affordable the most, and that's going to be a challenge. But there you go. So you've got our feedback.
We'll see you with our site plan.
See you, but let's driveway. Oh, if you could kill those staircases. I mean, it's a beautiful building, and you go, oh. That
I
was my
think when you-
reaction over the weekend.
Yeah, we'll show you.
Okay, all right, you show us.
Thank you.
All right, so Mr. Hegney, you are staying, right?
I am.
Okay, so our next discussion item
Public comment?
is, oh, too late. Hold on, let me see who's here, because the last time I checked.
The press usually doesn't comment.
No. the
Michael's
press
not
doesn't
here to
usually-
comment.
Yeah, okay. So, well, does anybody have any comment on the application at the Acme lot? Anybody want to comment? Nope, lucked out. Okay. Kind of figuring we didn't have a lot of people, but okay. So now we go to 555 Riversville LLC for a pre-app review, section 613 through 617, et cetera. 551 Riversville Road in the RA4 zone. This is to construct a dwelling with a separate car barn, and in total it will exceed 150,000 cubic feet, and the property is 9.436 acres. Mr. Hegney, you listened to us yesterday. Let's do this in 20.
Very well, Madam Chair. So
Hands up, folks.
this is a 9.4 acre parcel. It's vacant currently. It's on the east side of Riversville Road, up near North Porchuck. As you indicated, the owner is proposing to construct a 3-bedroom single-family house that's a little over 2,000 square feet and a car barn that's a little over 9,000 square feet. And that's to have his own car collection. Wanted to point out that the plan has received wetland approval, and we have a wetland permit. This is for the storage of his own car collection and maintenance of those vehicles, and it is not for. He's not looking to run a garage in the neighborhood. This is just for his use. And if
obviously.
you want to include the normal conditions
Yep.
of it has to be only his cars, and it has to be only his cars that get maintained there.
Mhm.
Properties in the north part of town, so it's septic and well, and the barn itself is meets the 25-foot height for an accessory building. There will be a lounge area in there with a wet bar, an office, and a vehicle maintenance area. So it's not. It's when we were first thinking about this, I thought, gee, maybe we should just incorporate the dwelling into it. And then after speaking with Pat about it and looking at the discussion you had with the Cherry Valley application last year, we decided to not have the dwelling as part of the barn itself, and to have that as a separate building, and to not have a dwelling in the barn itself. So that's what initially I was thinking the other way around, and then it seemed like this was the way that the commission was looking for us to go. So that's why we separated them out. And that's basically it.
Sorry, Mr. Macro. I was trying to get a break
Okay,
here.
Mr. Hagney, the plans in the site plan don't kind of jive. Which one is the more correct plan?
Let's see. So my client has retained Conti and Conti as the landscape architect for this, and this is more conceptual in nature as part of doing the development plan for the site. And we do have a site plan that was submitted to the wetland agency, but that's not completed yet either. We have the drainage to work on and finalizing the septic design. So
the Conti plan shows a 20-foot drop from the back of the building down. That's in any one of them.
It is a significant drop on the east side of the property. That's true.
Okay.
That part of Riversville slopes down significantly from the road. This building will be something like 50 feet below the roadway. So it's essentially not visible. The property to the east is over 100 acres of Audubon, National Audubon property. So this is sort of nestled in there. You can see where the lot is, and then to the east is all the Audubon.
Just something to consider, and I think we actually discussed this yesterday. The lounge area on the second floor of the car barn is bigger than the actual residence. I'm just wondering, the lounge, is it required? Is it an office? What's going on there, seeing as it's so big? And then when you come back, let's talk about, why it wasn't incorporated into the house was incorporated into the barn itself. So you would not have an accessory structure, but other members have questions. We can actually go on with that.
That certainly is. If there's one question that I'm looking to have answered, it's that question. That is this the direction the commission wants us to go in, to have a separate dwelling unit, which is required under the regulations, and a separate car barn, or incorporate them together? That's the one question I wanted to walk away with an answer to.
And clearly, let me go with that before we get to the lounge in the barn. Very clearly, the direction of the discussion that I heard, somebody tell me if you disagree, is there is a historic development pattern that relates back to farming days and is no longer farming, but there is a historic development pattern in the RA4 zone, which has smaller primary structures and a larger accessory structure that is a barn. That is a feasible and acceptable in the in the development plan of the town. That is something that exists historically. And so from my own perspective, and I didn't hear anyone disagree, I am more comfortable with that. Second thing, not only would we condition you on the no commercial, it's all of that, but we would also say no mechanical lifts, right? No repairs on site. And this I'm doing from the ones that I know exist in town from days gone by. Washing would be okay, vehicle washing and detailing, but that there would be no mechanical work. The one person I have acquaintance with, Nick, that has one of these has 27 cars, and they have a lovely lounge area where everybody sits and admires the cars. Okay, this is a collector's idea. Now, that was approved by a planning and zoning commission. It was a special permit application. So I can tell Patrick which it is, and we can look at that floor plan as a reference for us to guide us. It is the one that I know for sure has 27 spaces for a car collector. So we could look at that and compare it, and you can look at what it has in terms of the house. I think, Nick, you'll be pleased to see that the primary residence is larger, but that's the only one I can think of, Patrick, in our time where we have a major vehicle collection, and it actually predates me on the zoning commission. So let's go back and look at that, and then we can try to be comparable in what we've changed. Nick, you want to say something?
Yeah, just I wanted to follow up on what I'm looking at as plan. Mr. Hegney, there's a maintenance garage. It looks like it's got tractors. That's for the maintenance of the grounds around it.
Yes, that's for the
Okay.
equipment. that's
Vehicle
used to
entry
run the
and
property.
maintenance of the vehicles, but I'm seeing gun storage, hidden storage room, all of this other stuff. Those are ancillary to the property or to the collection?
Well, part of it is for the property. You see the mowers and equipment that's in the on the lower portion, the upper right-hand corner, and the remainder is for maintenance of the vehicles themselves. I wouldn't see any major repairs going here, but if someone
No
wanted,
lifts.
if they were changing oil or something like that, you're talking
No
about
mechanical lifts.
no major repairs.
No mechanical lifts.
Let's actually real quickly before we move on with that. Mechanical lifts for maintenance of vehicles.
Right.
How about
As
mechanical lifts
opposed-
for storage of vehicles?
No, that's fine. Storage is, you
Okay.
hear me saying mechanical lifts, I mean maintenance. Storage is fine. A lot of people do it all over town. People just throw a storage unit into their garage. Nick, you don't even know people have them. Okay, fine. But once you have a lift, and here's the thing, you're changing oil, you're working with hazardous substances, where are you disposing of them? You open a whole can of worms. We're an environmental can of worms. So if you're going to be doing mechanical work, it's a no. Because of you're doing, but again, that's my first reaction. Because the moment you're doing that kind of work, you are working with substances that have to be disposed of correctly. And you have to keep barrels on site, storage barrels, so you can dispose of them. Okay, you know all this, Mr. Hegney. You've done service stations.
It was one of my first jobs at Seymour Chevrolet was changing oil and oil
Oh yeah, but
filters
back
on
then,
Chevys.
Mr. Hegney, I remember what they did with the used oil. Okay, that stuff doesn't happen anymore.
I always put it in a storage container that was provided at my station.
Good doobie. Okay.
And then I got to drive the Corvettes home. So, it
Okay.
was
All
really
right.
good.
So you did well. A lot of people, antifreeze, oil, all brake fluid, all of that stuff. It's just better not to be working on it on a residential property that's on a septic. It's just not a good idea.
I'll speak with the owner about it.
Talk to them, but we will be able to learn a lot because I know we've got some of these in town, and I think it's very fair that we apply the same standards to your application. And I know we've approved them.
Yeah, most of these look better than a lot of people's living rooms.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
They're
The
pristine.
one I have in mind is spectacular, but, or it was. But we'll find we'll find the plans and the final site plan special permit for it. Nick, anything else?
No, I'm good. Sorry about that.
So that's it. Just a real concern about the commercial uses. I think the separation now, does anybody on the commission disagree with a small primary and a big barn?
I do, but let's move on from that.
I know how you feel. I'm asking everybody else. You said. Okay, everybody else. Dennis? You're
Okay,
muted.
with it, you said it, there's a pattern of development, and this is what backcountry developed, so to speak. So I'm okay with it.
And Mary and Noel Lowe? Any issues?
Not now.
Okie doke. So you may have to sell Lowe. He's a little doubtful, but okay.
It's
All right.
it's just a different kind of horsepower than
Yeah.
we used in the
Oh, I
past.
see it. Yeah. Yes, but
I wasn't going to use that,
You
but I
did.
figured,
no,
well,
no, no,
but
it's fine.
You've
I
been
just wrote it
waiting to
down.
use that. That
But
just isn't true.
manure, but bear in mind that when you're doing barns, we have all this language about what you do with manure. Okay, so I'm going there with the antifreeze and the used oil. All right,
okay.
All right.
Understood. Yep.
understood.
Thank
Okay,
you.
only they're much more toxic.
Pierre, do
I'm
you
in the
know
wrong
the
place.
one you're referring to, the 27? They don't
Yeah.
do anything maintenance wise on site?
Let's see what they have. I don't remember it. It's been about 15 years since I was on site.
The ones I know, they definitely change oil, but
Then
we'll see.
whatever, I think we have to be fair. And
I
whatever
agree.
standard we apply to some people, we apply to others. Mary, you have your hand up.
Public comment, Madam Chair?
Excuse me?
Public comment?
Yep. Okay. Anybody from the public wish to speak on this pre-app? No, I mean, it's only the press. Okay. Mr. Hegney, we'll see you when you come
I
back.
have nothing further. Yes. Thank you, Madam Chair. This is very helpful.
No
All
dad
right.
jokes? No, you must have a whole book of dad jokes.
I'm gonna save those for the actual application.
Okay.
Yes.
okay.
Maybe the after party.
Yeah.
Oh. All right. Okay, I hereby move approval of the March 17th minutes.
Seconded.
Mr. Lowe has seconded that motion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okey doke. Mr. Secretary, you are on.
Okay, which ones are outstanding still?
Got two.
No, 221 River
Just
and
one,
Just
right?
Salad.
Okay, just salad.
sorry, yeah.
Just salad, I guess
Just
was
Salad
first, right?
and Just Salad and 221 River.
Yeah.
393, 490 East Putnam Avenue, final coastal site plan, special permit, PLPZ 2026. 014, applicant seeking approval to consolidate and change the use of two existing commercial spaces to a fast casual restaurant with a total area of 2,328 square feet, 28 seats, located on a 6.655 acre property in the LB, COZ, and FHOZ zones. Per section 6111 of the BZR and sections 22A90 and 22A96 of the Connecticut General Statutes. Properties within the X flood zone. The commercial property has 19 parking spaces fronting along East Putnam Avenue and 36 parking spaces in the rear of the lot for a total of 55 spaces. The proposed application will eliminate one of the fronting parking spots. Commission finds that zoning issued comments dated 1/5/26 indicating no issues with the proposal. Beta issue comment dated 4/10/26 indicating no concerns during P&Z review. ARC issue comments dated 3/11/26 indicating electronic return with comment. Sewer Division issue comments dated 3/19/26 requesting applicants submit a signed letter acknowledging their receipt of the P&Z comments. DPW Traffic issued comments dated 4/9/26 indicating resubmittal prior to zoning permit. Health Department issued comments dated 3/19/26 indicating food service approval. And Wetlands Agency issued a permit needs questionnaire dated 1/12/26 indicating no action required. Therefore, motion to approve the application for final coastal site plan with the following conditions. Per the applicant, the existing freestanding tenant sign encroaching in the Connecticut DOT right-of-way will be located when plans will be we're ready for the sidewalk improvements that are being developed by the town of Greenwich Department of Public Works. For the applicant owner, a designated short-term parking space shall be indicated at the new number 1 space. This would be at the corner of Robertson and East Putnam Avenue. The designated parking space shall be called out on the site plan prior to zoning permit sign-off. Prior to zoning permit sign-off, the applicant shall electronically return to ARC to address outstanding comments. Pursuant sewer division, comment. The applicant has submitted a letter dated 2/27/26 acknowledging comments, and the applicant shall address any and all remaining staff or interdepartmental issues.
Do you have a second?
Second.
Okay, Yeski? Is that Yeski?
Me,
No.
Arn.
Arn, I'm sorry. I was reading the language in here.
Well, they
So,
look alike, you know.
yeah.
Ouch.
Ouch. So Mr. Wells has seconded. Nick,
Yeah.
in the discussion, you asked that the rear entrance be modified to make it more appetizing as a main entrance. Would you like to add that as a modification or as a?
Yeah, that would be a good
the-
idea. I
Okay,
think
so
it's,
whereas the applicant has, whereas the commission has request the applicant to, or even the commission requests that the applicant consider modifying the rear entrance to make it clearer that it should be used as a main entrance. The other thing is, I don't know if we need to add this, you guys. The owner has indicated, has agreed to relocate signage currently encroaching the right of way within
Yeah,
the
I got
right of
that.
way. Okay, you
Yep.
did get that. I
Yes.
missed it when you said it. You got the quick pickup?
Yep.
Do we need to specifically reference, you guys, the fact that the parking plan doesn't agree between the two, that there are 2 different plans for the parking, and do we just let everybody straighten it out when it goes to permit? Patrick, Tracy, just let them
What's the
straighten it out.
disagreement? That front parking space?
The parking layout on the site plan does not match the layout on the east end of the building as shown on the drone photos in the parking study. The site plan
Oh,
should be
that
updated.
is there is a surveying issue
Okay.
where the state
Okay.
thinks it's one way and the town thinks it's another. So that'll have to get dealt with, but the surveyor.
It'll have to get dealt with. Okay.
Yeah.
The last thing the DPW had suggested was that we request for a timeline for the site plan to be updated, such as prior to zoning to permit or to CO on
it was
this issue.
prior to zoning permit sign off.
Okay, regarding this discrepancy.
Yeah.
And then we got it. Okay, so Mr. Wells, how do you vote?
Aye.
Mr. Yeski?
Aye.
Mr. McRae?
Aye.
Mr. Lowe?
Aye.
Alvin is also aye, and with that, the motion passes 5-0, and we go to River.
221 River Road, final coastal site plan special permit PLPC 2025-445. Applicant seeking approval to remove the existing dwelling and site features and replace it with construct a new two-family dwelling in an R6 property in the COZ FOZ zones for section 6111 of the BZR, sections 22A90, 22A 96 of the Connecticut General Statutes. Property is within the X flood zone, and the total zoning lot area is 6,732 square feet. Hold on 1 second, I gotta fix something real quick. Okay.
okay.
Conservation issue comments dated 3/11/26, indicating previous comments to be the application have been addressed. Zoning issue comments at 3/12/26, indicating the applicant received a variance of front yard setback. ZBA granted a variance of front yard setback dated 12/1/25. DEP issue comments dated 1/20/26, indicating comment that's not required.
Okay.
Cut and paste. Sewer issue comments dated 3/12/26, requesting the applicant submit a signed letter of acknowledging their P&Z comments. DPW drainage issue comments dated 3/26, indicating resubmittal prior to zoning permit. EMAC issue comments dated 3/11/26, requesting a favorable review. And wetlands issued a permit needs permits need questionnaire dated 1/13/26, indicating no action required. Therefore, a motion to approve the application For final coastal site plan with the following conditions, prior to zoning permit sign off, the applicant is to review the parking lift design with the fire marshal's office. Any change to the parking conditions shall return to P and Z. Prior to TCO, the applicant shall complete installation of the car lifts and demonstrate to planning and zoning staff operation and use of both lifts. Operational instructions for the lifts shall be clearly and permanently posted in the garage next to the connecting door to the residence. Per DPW engineering comment, prior to TCO/CO, the applicant shall provide certification that the foundation and windows in the foundation are watertight. Per sewer division comment, the applicant has submitted a letter dated 3/13/26 acknowledging comments, and the applicant shall address any and all remaining staff or interdepartmental issues.
I may have missed this, Nick. Let's get a second, sorry. Second,
Second.
Mr. Wells has seconded. I was awake that time. Mr. Wells has seconded. Nick, whereas the applicant has agreed to move the stone wall back 1 foot.
Yep.
That to provide, you said that to a
No.
4 foot. Okay, so whereas the applicant has agreed to move the stone wall back 1 foot to provide a 4 foot grassed area between the wall and the paved surface of the street to enhance pedestrian safety.
Okay.
And that's a modification to the plan, to the existing site plan. Okay, Mr. Wells, if as modified, how do you vote?
Aye.
Mr. Yeski?
Aye.
Mr. McRae?
Aye.
Mr. Lowe?
Aye.
Albin is also aye. 5-0. The motion has passed. Everybody got a poll for the meeting to discuss 25-1. So whatever you can do, Arn, I know you're out of pocket. So whatever we can do to accommodate, I think Brooks said he was traveling, whatever we can do to accommodate you guys. It is basically to review the zoning regulations that are going to be amended pursuant to 25-1. Patrick's going to send them to everybody. So your option is just to review them and send in comments to Patrick prior to them going to Westcog. Okay, so you don't have to be there if you just want to send in your comments, but I just wanted y'all to see it before it goes into Westcog. So, we get comments and we're like, oh, well, we hadn't really discussed that. Okay, and with that, is anybody hungry? No?
Yep, we're all good.
Yeah, sounds good.
Please return in 30 minutes for section 2.
Good luck with that.
Yeah.
Good luck with that. All right, you guys. Bye. I had a barking dog. It's food time.
Okay.
All right.
Everyone.
Bye.
Good night.